Hey guys, tonight we're not setting sail into the roughest waters history has to offer. No greasy pirates, no splintery ships creaking under poor life choices, and no parrots screaming things they absolutely should not repeat. Tonight, we're drifting somewhere quieter, darker, and just a little bit strange. The world of unexplained shadows. But before we wander into dim corners and half-seen shapes, take a second to like the video and subscribe, but only if you actually enjoy these slow, thoughtful journeys into the unknown. And leave a comment telling me where you're listening from and what time it is. Somehow, it's always 2 a.m. somewhere, and 2 a.m. feels like the exact right time to think about shadows that don't quite make sense. Now dim those lights. Switch on a fan for that soft white noise hum. Get comfortable. Pull the blanket a little closer and maybe tuck your feet in. Not because imaginary rats are planning anything tonight, but because shadows always feel bigger when your toes are cold. Let's pause for a moment. Have you ever noticed how shadows behave differently at night? How something familiar during the day can feel completely foreign in the dark. A coat becomes a figure. A doorway feels deeper than it should. A corner seems occupied. Tonight, we're exploring why the world has always been full of shadows. Not just physical ones cast by flickering light, but the unexplained, half-understood shapes that have followed humanity through history. From ancient stories whispered around fires, to medieval streets lit by torches, to modern rooms glowing softly with screens, people have always noticed the same thing. Shadows linger where certainty ends. This isn't about fear. It's about curiosity, about how the human mind fills in the quiet spaces when the world goes still. We'll move slowly, gently, like walking through a familiar room with the lights turned low. So breathe. Let your shoulders drop. Feel the comfort of knowing you're safe. Here, now, listening from a warm place while the shadows stay exactly where they belong. Tonight, with sleepy Oogway as your guide, we're uncovering why the world is full of unexplained shadows and why they've always been part of the human story. Now, let's begin. Chapter 1. Before there was anything. Before there was light, before there was distance, before there was even the idea of time, there was nothing. Not darkness as we know it, not night waiting for dawn, but a vast empty void where concepts had not yet learned how to exist. No up or down, no before or after, no sound to echo and no surface to receive it. Just an infinite quiet, so complete that even silence had no meaning. This was not chaos. It was waiting. The void stretched endlessly in all directions, though direction itself had not yet been invented. There were no stars hidden behind the dark, no worlds folded into corners. Nothing rested here, nothing moved, nothing observed. And yet, this nothingness was not empty in the way we fear emptiness. It was full of potential. In this infinite quiet, there was no shadow, because there was nothing to cast one. No light, because nothing yet needed illumination. No fear, because fear requires something to lose. The void did not hurry. It did not count seconds. It did not anticipate the future. Time itself was still unborn. If you could stand there, if standing were possible, you would feel no cold, no warmth, no pressure. You would feel absence, not loneliness, but neutrality, the kind of stillness so complete that the mind would have nothing to hold on to. And perhaps this is why the human mind struggles with shadows today, because somewhere deep inside we remember this place. The unexplained shadows of our world, the ones that slip across walls without a source, the corners that feel deeper than they should, the shapes that vanish when stared at too long. They stir something ancient. They echo a memory older than thought, the memory of a time when form had not yet conquered emptiness. Shadows are reminders that light came later, that existence interrupted nothingness, that something replaced the void. But before that spark, before that first division between light and dark, there was only this endless pause, a breath held across eternity, a silence so deep that even awareness had not yet awakened. The void did not resist creation. It did not fight the coming of light. It simply made room. And when the spark finally arrived, when existence burst forward and time learned to move, the void did not disappear. It retreated, folded itself into the spaces between things, into the gaps behind walls, into the distance between stars, into the shadows cast by light that had never existed before. That is why shadows feel ancient. They are not enemies of light. They are reminders of what came before it. The world is full of unexplained shadows because the universe remembers its beginning, because no amount of light can completely erase the memory of infinite quiet. Because every object, every flame, every star carries with it a small edge of darkness, proof that something replaced nothing. And perhaps shadows are not meant to frighten us. Perhaps they are meant to humble us, to remind us that existence is not guaranteed, that reality itself was once optional, that everything we know, sound, warmth, movement, thought, arrived from a silence so complete it had no name. In sleep, we return closest to that place. As thoughts slow, as senses fade, as time softens, the mind drifts back toward the echo of the void, not to disappear, but to rest, to release form and return briefly to quiet. That is why darkness before sleep feels different than darkness in fear. It is familiar, ancient, gentle. So when shadows linger without explanation, remember, they are not watching you. They are not chasing you. They are simply standing where nothing once stood, waiting quietly, just as the universe once did, before existence learned how to begin. And as you drift toward sleep, let that infinite quiet return. No light, no distance, no urgency, just the calm stillness that existed before everything, holding you gently until morning remembers how to arrive. Chapter 2: The Cosmic Countdown. Hey guys, tonight we embark on a cosmic journey that's colder than the leftovers in your fridge after a week of good intentions. That's right, we're diving into the swirling vortex of the universe from 1977, a year that brought us disco, pet rocks, and just the right amount of polyester suits. Spoiler alert, we will also explore the unexplainable shadows. Who knew the universe had such a flair for the dramatic? Before we start this voyage through time and dimensions, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and toss in a comment. Only if you actually enjoy this, of course. I firmly believe in not talking to the void unless it talks back. Now gently close your eyes, dim those lights, and turn on a fan if you're feeling saucy. Feeling comfy? Good, because we're about to spiral into a realm of cosmic oddities that would make even the most seasoned astronaut raise an eyebrow while sipping Tang. Let's start by pondering, what if the black holes are just the universe's way of hiding your missing socks? Or what if the stars are merely the leftover glitter from the universe's last craft party? Ever considered the idea that constellations are just cosmic organizations trying to figure out their group photos? And I can't help but ask, what's the deal with those unexplained shadows? Are they the universe's lost pets camping out on a distant nebula? Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1977, a year when the universe was enjoying its midlife crisis. Think about it. Everything is disco, even the stars humming their favorite Bee Gees tunes. But wait, something peculiar is afoot with our cosmic neighbors. Picture this. A cosmic clock, not a fancy Rolex, but a grand celestial timepiece, winding backwards so dramatically it could put your grandfather's old grandfather clock to shame. Now let's talk about this clock. Imagine sitting in your hypothetical spacecraft, floating in the vastness of space. A cold tang of stardust in your nostrils. Not great for allergies, by the way. You look out the window and, oh boy, the universe is shrinking. Not just a little, but like your bank account before payday. The galaxies are compressing. Stars are getting squished together like that one poor slice of bread in your kitchen that always gets trapped under the heavy jar of pickles. You can practically hear the universe grunt and groan as it squishes itself into a minuscule point. And if you're looking around, you might notice that even the stars are side-eyeing each other, trying to establish some cosmic personal space, desperate to avoid becoming starry pancake flops. It's both terrifying and oddly hilarious. The intensity in the air could make your hair stand up, if you had any left after the stress of 1970s hair trends. Time is collapsing in on itself, faster than a teenage boy under the weight of a school dance. The Milky Way is turning into a comfortable pebble. How absurd is that? And who decides whether the vast and infinite darkness is terrifying or just really good at hide and seek? While you ponder this, let's consider the soundscape. It's remarkably silent out here in the void, perhaps too silent. You would think it would be like a roaring party, but no. Just shadows doing what shadows do best, silently judging your every choice. Good luck trying to explain that to your boss when you show up late because you lost track of time in the universe's retrograde. You might wonder, with stars making their audacious retreat, what's taking their place? Shadows, my dear friends, shadows everywhere, creeping around like an ex who still doesn't get the hint that it's truly over. They flit through the cosmos like party crashers arriving at the intergalactic soiree, uninvited and downright confusing. Did we invite the shadows, you might ask, with genuine intrigue, only to be met by the solid silence of infinite space? No RSVP cards in sight. Those shadows have a life of their own, like your neighbor's cat who believes the world revolves around its nap schedule. Now, on the subject of compression and mysterious shadows, let's address the sensation of cosmic déjà vu. You know that feeling of stepping into a coffee shop only for everyone to simultaneously stop and stare at you? It's like stepping into the cosmic abyss where time and space twist together in bizarre loops, and suddenly you've become the unwitting star of intergalactic gossip. Eventually, everything fits into a tiny speck. Yes, from an expansive universe packed with sparks and particles, to nothing more than an atom-sized dot, the universe is having an existential moment. It's basically experiencing a cosmic New Year's Eve party where nobody knows how many resolutions everyone made, but desperately hope the champagne doesn't go flat. So as we drift deeper into the heart of this cosmic conundrum, breathe easy. After all, there's no rush. The universe has its own timeline, one where even the shadows are invited to hang out. Perhaps, just to remind us all, it's okay to be a little mysterious, a lot absurd, and undeniably alive. And just like that, our journey through the cosmos transforms from the magnificently daunting to the absurdly entertaining. Buckle up, we're not done yet. Chapter 3, The Unraveling of Reality. Hey guys, tonight we venture into a dimension of absurdity that would give even your least favorite pair of stretch pants on laundry day a run for their money. That's right, we're diving headfirst into the cosmic whirlpool of space-time, rippling outward like a pancake breakfast gone gloriously wrong. Oh, the laws of physics are about to throw a black-tie gala of mystery and mischief that'll have you questioning why you thought it was a good idea to wear platform shoes to a dance-off. Spoiler, they weren't that functional in 1977 either. Before we rocket into this intergalactic spectacle, do me a solid. Like, subscribe, and comment if you feel so inclined, but only if you enjoy this escapade. No pressure. Let's keep our relationship casual, shall we? Now, ensure you're nestled into your cozy nook, and maybe, just maybe, grab that slightly stale bag of popcorn hiding in your cabinet. Is your brain prepared for a jaunt through strange shadows and rippling energies? Excellent. Take a deep breath. Breathe in the interstellar scent of ancient stars and the faint whiff of "What did I have for dinner last night?" Congratulations! You've just woken up in 1977, a time where bell-bottom pants were the height of fashion and disco ruled the dance floors like a glitter bomb exploded at a birthday party. Imagine the day beginning with mixes of ABBA while questioning if anyone would think you'd lost your sense of style if you dared step outside wearing a sequined jumpsuit. The atmosphere crackles with energy, not just from the latest DJ set, but also from an expanding universe that's about to change the game, like a cosmic Oprah giving out new laws of physics to everyone. Let's talk about energy. Imagine the universe at a vast galactic party. Energies are whipping around like confetti at a wedding. But instead of flying through the air in joyous spirals, they're doing the cha-cha-cha with space-time itself. The very fabric of reality is stretching and bending, creating energy waves that ripple outward like a small dog stealing the last slice of pizza from the kitchen table. Picture this. As you sat in your beanbag chair, probably rainbow-colored, am I right? You start to feel something strange, like your neighbor's cat plotting an elaborate heist involving glitter and some antique silverware. The laws of physics are not merely set in stone, but are more of a dynamic dance. One moment they're foxtrotting gracefully, and in the next it's a chaotic conga line of confusion. Now, as space-time expands, you might wonder, are we simply experiencing the universe's awkward growth spurt? You remember those uncomfortable teenage years where everything seemed out of whack. Imagine that on a cosmic scale. A universe in a teen phase, wearing knee-high socks and embracing every kind of awkwardness. The lights flicker and a legend is born. The Big Bang, while sounding like a rad new movie. Oh, did you catch that new film, The Big Bang? Is not a cinematic release, but rather the very inception of everything. No popcorn, no intermission, just the grand ta-da of existence itself. But here's the kicker. It wasn't a slow and steady flame, but a supernova moment. It's as if reality decided to throw a surprise party without letting anyone know. But let's pause for a moment. What about the shadows? Oh, the shadows. They move like your aunt at a family gathering, sneaking in and out of conversations, lingering just enough to keep you wary about the potato salad she brought along. Unexplained shadows drift through dimension and reality, bedecked in mystery and mischief. They're like those pesky relatives sneaking in and out of your life without ever explaining how they became part of the family tree. Are you sentient? You might find yourself asking one particularly sneaky shadow. You can imagine it casually replying, "Nope, just here for the free snacks." These engaging shadows, my friends, are the universe's way of playing peekaboo. They might even be buzzing around celestial bodies as if the Milky Way had turned into a cosmic game of hide and seek. Sometimes light can be too bright for its own good, and shadows serve their purpose, comically lurking, whispering cosmic secrets, and glittering with the strangeness that permeates existence. And if you find yourself questioning why these shadows exist, just remember, much like that one friend who insists on showing you embarrassing photos from college, they're often just here to remind us that sometimes life is a theatrical act without a clear script, and we make do with what we've got. As the cosmic clock ticks on, one can't help but wonder if the universe has plans to keep expanding, or if it's just going through a phase, much like disco music? Will it grow, or one day reach a point where it crumbles into a single atom and perhaps open a wormhole for another musical genre to shine? The beauty lies in the absurdity, my friends. A universe alive with shadows, dance floors, and bizarre existential questions. Embrace the cosmic chaos. It's a spectacle of colors, energies, and the occasional mishap where space-time forgets its lines, and reality resembles an improv show gone delightfully off-script. So as we glide further down our interstellar journey, know that you're part of this delightful absurdity. The universe is sprawling, wild, and gloriously complicated, and if anything, it's taking its sweet time doing its own cosmic debut. So sit back, relax, and let the curious shadows be your company as you drift towards slumber, blissfully wrapped in the unpredictability of existence itself. Chapter 4. The Faint Glimmer of Galactic Ghosts. Hey guys, tonight we're tiptoeing through the vast expanse of, well, not your neighbor's lawn at 2 a.m., though that could be a similar vibe. No, my friends, we're gliding over the finite boundaries of our universe, swept away by the echo of ancient light resembling the ghostly remains of a cosmic party no one bothered to clean up. Yes, strap in, because tonight our exploration will be quite literally out of this world, colder than your ex's new relationship, but somehow way more fascinating. If you could, like, subscribe, and leave a comment, only if you actually like what's happening here, of course, I'd appreciate it. Now, dim those lights as low as your enthusiasm for Mondays and find a cozy spot that whispers comfort rather than shoulder pain. Go ahead, kick your feet up. It's about to get esoteric, but in a fun way. Have you ever pondered the mysteries of the universe while trying to figure out if your cat truly understands you? Why do socks vanish when you do laundry, while the black holes of the cosmos just hang around, stealing time like it's the last prized donut at the office? And for the love of all that is quirky about life, do you think the universe could possibly be a tad jealous of your neighbor's overgrown lawn? Congratulations! You've awoken in 1977, a year when the cosmic microwave background radiation was discovered, much like trying to find that odd sock under your bed and realizing it's more of a relic than a fashion choice. Yes, out there in the deep, dark void of space exists a faint glow, more tenuous than the relationships forged at your last high school reunion. This glow isn't from your neighbor's picture windows during a particularly enthusiastic barbecue. No, this is the remnant light of a universe 13.8 billion years old. Let's talk about this ghostly remnant, shall we? Imagine you're gazing into the star-filled abyss, and suddenly you notice whispers of light playing peekaboo with the void. It's that alluring glow that can only be found in a midnight fridge raid. Space might be dark, but right out there, it's doing something utterly remarkable, like being the universe's version of Instagram, trying to show off its history through ancient, washed-out filters no one asked for. In 1977, while you were catching up on the latest disco trends and side-eyeing everyone in those gaudy polyester shirts, scientists were tuning their radio telescopes to the cosmic microwave background. It was like finding out your grandmother's soup recipe was stolen from the stars. They discovered this background radiation is basically the residual heat left behind from the Big Bang, a cosmic hug from the universe saying, "Hey, it was me all along." It's like getting an unexpected postcard from a long-lost friend. Now, dear traveler, let's imagine the moment this light was first detected. There was an ambient buzz, excitement bubbling like an over-enthusiastic can of soda. The scientists must have looked at each other, their eyes wide, with the kind of surprise usually reserved for either surprise parties or mild fermentation disasters in the kitchen. Wait, do we just hear the echoes of the universe chatting back? Really? It's a moment akin to waking up to find that person still sitting next to you that honestly should have left at least an hour ago. The cosmic microwave background serves as an after-image of the early universe, like the way your grandma's meatloaf tastes after several days in the fridge. Yes, it's still there, and I encourage you to bring that analogy up during your next family dinner. But why bother with such ancient whispers when sometimes we can't even hear our own thoughts over all that existential noise? The shadows of those bygone days paint a tapestry of wonders. They wink from the very fabric of existence, creating a cosmic commentary about the absurdity of what we call life. Are they like our unspoken fears, the ghostly reflections of things left unresolved, still lurking, asking awkward questions about the good old days? These shadows dance across dimensions, waiting patiently like your childhood friends as you contemplate ordering yet another overpriced pizza. You might almost hear them whisper, "Is this truly the kind of world you envisioned while daydreaming during math class?" They ripple through the universe, casting doubts upon existence while embodying the sweet irony of cosmic play. As we float through this indistinct expanse, remember that these shadows are forever intertwined with every memory, every creation, and maybe that old sweater you vowed to toss out, but somehow still wear to this day. You've got to love how even the shadows need a little love, or at least a fun night out on an unsuspecting Tuesday. So as you let the gentle sounds of the universe lull you into a sleepy embrace, abandon yourself to the absurdity of wandering thoughts and half-remembered dreams. The faint glimmer of ancient light and the merry shadows of yesteryear accompany you on this journey through space and time. Embrace the comedy of existence, because in the grand cosmic narrative, we're all just players seeking the softest spots to land between the celestial dance of creation and oblivion. Now, close your eyes and let the soothing whispers of the universe carry you off into the night, cradled by the eternal glow of cosmic shadows. As you drift away, keep that quirky universe close to your heart. After all, it loves a good laugh as much as you do, Chapter 5: The Inquisitive Telescope and its 7 Stubborn Supports. Hey guys, tonight we're casting our gaze skyward, as though you've just stumbled into the riveting world of 1920s astronomy. Sort of like trying to look sophisticated while wearing a sock on your head for added warmth. Yes, we're diving into a time where telescopes went from garden decorations to colossal brass behemoths, attempting to explore the universe, but often looking like they were homemade in a particularly enthusiastic workshop run by your eccentric uncle. But wait, before we launch ourselves into a galactic wonderland, could you do me a favor? Like, subscribe, and comment. Only if you actually enjoy us launching into the cosmos without a safety net, of course. Now, let's dim those lights like a pair of champagne glasses at a swanky party gone wrong. Relax, grab your pillows, and if you have any cat nearby, now's the time to embrace that furry bundle of dubious wisdom. Ever contemplated what it's like to squint into the abyss of starry nothingness while listening to your neighbor's cat wail about the existential crisis of being a house cat? Why do all the best celestial bodies seem to align during every meteor shower, while you struggle to align a pizza slice with your mouth after a long day? And really, what would you ask the universe if you bumped into it in line for coffee? Congratulations! You've just woken up in 1927, the height of human curiousness, a year when fools looked at the cosmos through the remarkably sinister lens of a brass telescope while wearing bow ties and furry hats that likely hadn't seen a good wash since the Great War. Here, the night sky isn't just black. It's a swirling mess of colors that could potentially rival a toddler's art project. Imagine yourself standing under shimmering stars, the cool night air breezing past your face like the last breath of your awkward high school dance partner. Here you are, surrounded by an orchestra of crickets chirping, the occasional rustle of nearby bushes buzzing with the excitement of nighttime critters going about their business. Now, let's talk about that brass telescope I mentioned earlier. It's a hefty contraption, about as portable as a brick wall wearing a tutu. As you heft it toward your eye, perhaps wondering if you've accidentally wandered into an antique shop where everything's for sale, especially your dignity, you finally catch a glimpse of the cosmos. The scope swings around, wobbling precariously as though it has a mind of its own, like that roller coaster that looked more inviting than it had any right to be. As you peer through that massive brass setup, the universe unfurls before you. It's dazzling. Stars, galaxies, and a particularly perplexing collection of celestial bodies zipping away at startling speeds. You squint as light shifts like your friend trying to avoid discussing their dating life. A dance of cosmic velocity, dodging questions about what's really out there. That's right, everything in the sky seems to be moving away from you. Is it a vast cosmic escape plan? An interstellar gathering where everyone gets that awkward feeling of overstaying their welcome? Or perhaps the universe is throwing a party and forgot to hand you an invitation. This delightful realization that the cosmos is steadily retreating, creating gaps as significant as the space between your ambitions and your cozy bed, hits you like the end of a particularly captivating movie. Shocking, absurd, almost laughable. Everything feels distant, and your mind stretches out, focusing on the fact that this universe seems to be behaving just like your daily commute. The stars whisper of their tales while plotting escape trajectories like a well-rehearsed heist. Yet there's an air of comedy even in this surreal moment as you clutch that telescope. Picture a group of astronomers huddled around you, sporting pocket protectors and discussing the great cosmic retreat as though it were the latest fashion craze. They're shaking their heads with a level of seriousness that honestly doesn't quite match the situation. "Look closely," they mutter. "It's a balderdash of galactic wonder." And you can't help but feel like an out-of-place party crasher, hoping to blend in while trying not to trip over the philosophical implications of your existence. People in this age can be downright absurd about their findings. Rumor has it that one rather enthusiastic astronomer even exclaimed upon seeing a supernova, "I've found Cousin Larry's barbecue grill from last summer." A statement so utterly befuddling that even the stars seem to wink in recognition. And the audacity doesn't stop there. These shielding mysteries extend into shadowed realms. Just imagine the scuffle that ensues when someone suggests that those very shadows, so prevalent and elusive, serve as the universe's peculiar way of saying, "I see you, but I'm not sure I want to engage right now." As you linger with your grand brass telescope, the night courses through you like warm cocoa on a cold evening. Here are shadows that sketch the eerie contours of every question you've ever asked. They loiter like overzealous guests at a cosmic party, refusing to leave, reflecting your own quirks and questioning why anyone thought stretchy pants were a solid fashion choice for an evening in. So, rest your eyes for just a moment. Give in to the gentle embrace of galactic musings that roam your imagination, while the universe keeps whispering its ancient secrets. Let thoughts of expanding sunsets and retreating celestial bodies embrace you, tickling your senses like a wild dream you can't quite grasp. Because, in the end, even when the stars play coy, just know you're all part of this uncertain, haphazard adventure through the vastness of space. As silly as distanced stars may seem, they're mostly just giving us all a reason to snicker at the cosmic comedy that is existence. So, breathe in deeply, let go of those questions for now, and sink into the peaceful unknown, where shadows and light dance as if moved by the gentle hand of fate, or at least an enthusiastic puppet master who forgot to pack lunch. Sleep well, dear friend, and remember, the universe is probably out there, having a great laugh at our expense, too. Chapter 6. Stargazing Through the Cosmic Comedy. Hey guys, tonight we're abandoning the dramatic soap opera that is your daily existence and embarking on a journey even grander than the time you accidentally wore two different shoes to a family event. We're diving into a swirling mean of deep purple nebulae filled with galaxies that seem to be engaging in their own high-speed game of cosmic hopscotch. If the universe had a reality TV show, this would be the season finale, and, spoiler alert, everyone is winning, or at least trying to create a winning smile whilst somehow holding a black hole at bay. But before we hurtle toward the vast unknown like a cosmonaut in need of a nap, could you do me a small favor? Like, subscribe, and comment if you actually enjoy this journey through the stars, especially if you want to keep your curiosity ablaze like that old toaster you refuse to replace. Now, let's set the atmosphere. Dim those lights, kick on that fan, and nestle into your cozy igloo of blankets. Your body deserves comfort, especially when the cosmos offers more questions than the average sitcom. Have you ever attempted to locate your lost car keys while standing beneath a starry sky, only to realize that locating them is as likely as finding a vegetarian meal at a medieval banquet? Or have you felt the absurdity of gazing at the night sky while grappling with the very real concern about who will water your plants if you suddenly get sucked into a wormhole? And what if someone told you that the shadows sprawling across the celestial dome are in fact cosmic tricksters playing hide and seek? Perplexing, huh? Congratulations. You've just woken up in 1977, a year when the disco ball was considered standard decor, not just at dance parties, but also in kitchen utensil drawers as a last-ditch attempt to summon the culinary spirits. You're awash in an era when the great beyond was still a mystery. Surfboards and bell-bottoms ruled the fashion scene, and all the while humanity was blissfully unaware of gravity's slightly more humorous side. Now, let's peep through the telescope, shall we? Picture it. You have the world's largest brass telescope perched like a dinosaur on the front porch, held together by sheer willpower and an assortment of lost childhood hopes. As you adjust the lens, slightly resemble a jazzercise instructor trying to coax a reluctant houseplant into the spotlight. You inhale the cool night air. It carries a faint whiff of popcorn mixed with, surprisingly, smoke from the neighbor's illegal barbecue and an underlying essence of hope that perhaps the universe holds answers to why the cat refuses to acknowledge your existence. You point the hefty contraption at a nearby galaxy and observe its slow dance under the churning fabric of the cosmos. But oh, what's this? Those galaxies move faster than a cat sprinting away from a bath. They're zipping toward each other, pulled by an invisible force, as though the universe just remembered it's late for an appointment. Could it be cosmic anxiety? Maybe a celestial competition to see who can twirl fastest without spilling stardust. And suddenly it strikes you. This is a galactic phenomenon that would make reality TV producers salivate. You imagine a group of celestial bodies gossiping like overly caffeinated grandmothers discussing the latest neighborhood scandal. Did you see Orion the other night? He's starting to look like a quasar that ate too many donuts. And there it is, the universe flexing its gravity muscles like a bodybuilder at a grocery store, apparently trying to pull these galaxies together as if they were poorly arranged seating at a wedding. How chaotic! How wonderfully absurd! Just like one of those dinner parties where food is served at room temperature and everyone insists the unnamed soup is an acquired taste. It's a cosmic brawl with galaxies colliding and shadows stretching across the vast night, holding the secrets of their collective decisions, like whether to go into another round of awkward small talk or dive headfirst into a black hole of silence. Let's take a closer look at that deep purple nebula. It undulates gracefully, a cotton candy monster swirling in space. But what's underneath? I suspect the shadows hovering around are critiquing cosmic events like they're auditioning for an offbeat Broadway show. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the shadows of Voyager, where plots twist and stars collide. Get your tickets for the celestial drama unfolding in the distance. The fate of 1 trillion quasars is at stake. Surely you consider the thought that perhaps the darkness representing unfilled dreams and unanswered questions is but a humorous cosmic ruse. The shadows invite us to play along, but let's not forget the irony. These shadows are there, hiding behind bright stars, like an introverted friend at a party who keeps insisting they are fine and not sleeping on the couch in the corner. As you let your imagination wander through spirals of humor and disbelief, you realize that even in the vast unknown, where the galaxies swirl in mesmerizing patterns, shadows and light exist like thoughts in a philosopher's brain. A cosmic comedy that tickles reason and begs you to be puzzled. So let your pondering minds float like space debris through the endless realms of your creativity, and accept that sometimes the universe just wants us to giggle along while we're all accidentally dodging black holes and runaway comets. As you cradle your dreams, light and shadow dance their enlightening jig, reminding you that there's no place too complex or cosmic for a little laughter. So sleep well, dear friend. Absorb all the cosmically weird giggles and whisper your questions into the vastness. After all, the universe is likely out there chuckling at our attempts to map its mystery while we fumble our way through life, one absurdity at a time. Chapter 7, Shadows of the Cosmic Oddities. Hey guys, tonight we're about to wade into something darker than the bottom of your sock drawer. The realm of shadows, cosmic anomalies, and the reliable thud of miscalculation that accompanies scientific breakthroughs. There's something sickly intriguing about the voids of darkness that entice us, isn't there? Just think about when you open your refrigerator at midnight, searching for leftover pizza, and realize the only thing haunting those shelves are the terrifying leftovers from last week's taco night. And with that cheery thought, allow me to extend a gentle invitation to like, subscribe, and comment. Ensure the humor of this cosmic journey persists, but only if you genuinely enjoy it, of course. Grab your trusty blankets, set your lighting to subtle ambience, and let's float smoothly into a time where a pioneering brain wrestles complex celestial conundrums like a cat wrestling with a laser pointer. Now, have you ever been struck by the idea that beyond our tangible existence, there are shadows lurking, perhaps plotting their next unsettling tick-tock dance? Or do you ponder, what must it be like to be a scientist in the 1930s, fumbling around with equations on a chalkboard, looking for relationships that feel more abstract than your grandma's love life? And why do shadows seem to play hide and seek? You think you've spotted one, but lo and behold, it's just your stress-induced paranoia kicking in. Congratulations! You've just woken up in the curious year of 1933. The Great Depression is still casting its shadow over society, and in Switzerland, a scientist named Fritz Zwicky is about to throw a scientific curveball that will confound even the most erudite of minds. Picture it. Chalk dust fills the air more effectively than any overzealous cologne, and our dear friend Fritz stands before a vast chalkboard adorned with hieroglyphics that might as well be the grocery list of a cat. Imagine Fritz with a mop of unruly hair, frantically scribbling away equations about galaxies, dark matter, and the perplexing reality that stars are less likely to fly off into the void than your dreams of retiring on an island. Every equation he writes is an abstract idea, a grapple in the ether, like trying to squeeze toothpaste back into the tube, or worse, navigating your office with a coffee stain the size of Jupiter spreading across your shirt. How could our lovely stars, those bright spectacles on display every night, remain so steadfast, he wonders, in a state of caffeinated frenzy, punctuating his thoughts with an occasional frantic arm wave, mostly aimed at anyone within earshot to share his cosmic excitement. Surely they're bound together by something more than mere gravity. Ah, yes. Allow me to introduce the illustrious concept of dark matter. Can you visualize it? In a world where managing your Wi-Fi connection is a perpetual challenge, how on earth do you approach the realm of the unseen? The dark matter that Fritz proposed is thought of like that friend who always shows up at the party, but, like a good magician, never reveals how they actually arrived. Ta-da! Here I am, but you'll never know how. As he scribbles equations, Zwicky finds himself tangled in thought, the chalk squeaking against the board, sounding suspiciously like distant cosmic laughter. Aha! He announces, startling any onlookers. If the universe were a party, what we see, the bright stars, are actually outnumbered by shadowy figures lurking just beyond the glimmer. It's sort of like when you're at a gathering and you feel like everyone is having the time of their lives, all until you realize you've been attempting to start conversations with the houseplants, thinking they were fellow partygoers. Shadows in space remind us they're there, just not the life of the party. For every twinkling star illuminating the vast expanse, there's dark matter dancing in the background, much like the subtle fidgeting we all do at weddings while the DJ plays that one song that always gets played for the cake-cutting ceremony, yet never dances for us humans. It's as if the universe is trying to complete a role in the show without telling some of the characters where the stage lights are stashed. Fritz's future colleagues probably puzzled over his revelations, huddled in research labs, forever grappling with these enchanting conundrums. You see, he would insist, the stars are dancing due to an invisible partner, and if we could only know its shape and form, perhaps it's just cosmic gin? This audacious idea sent ripples through the scientific community, kind of like the time you advanced your Zoom call without pants and forgot to turn off the camera. Yet, awaiting answers from his theories are the shadows themselves, playful and elusive, eluding even the most ardent detection devices humanity could concoct. "You think you see us," they whisper. "Look again. We're hiding in the awkward silences and those dimly lit corners of your living room." It's as if they're sticking their tongues out, teasing the brilliant minds trying to deconstruct their enigma. So as you lay back, drifting towards that blissful state between wakefulness and slumber, let the idea of shadows tickle your imagination. Contemplate how, in this vast cosmic mosh pit, both light and dark coalesce, encircling our existence like a social gathering where all the right moves are avoided. You're merely an observer in this dance, floating amid Zwicky's chalk dust and cosmic conundrums, closing your eyes to that darkened canopy full of mysteries awaiting answers, and perhaps a punchline worth ratifying. So dream sweetly, dear interstellar traveler, on a stage set with shadows and stars alike, weaving together life's delightful absurdity, while you navigate that cosmic tide beyond your ordinary grasp. The universe has laughter waiting in its ether, and it's all yours to glean as you sink into sweet slumber. Chapter 8. An Invisible Tide in Your Morning Brew. Hey guys, tonight we're about to dive into something more elusive than that one sock that always goes missing in the laundry. Dark matter flowing through your coffee cup, sneaking upward like it knows it's late for a meeting. It's that elusive collective force making up most of our reality, but is as unseeable as your old high school crush's attraction for you. I mean, how else do you explain the inexplicable? Or that rogue shadow you thought was a thief, but turned out to be your cat, now plotting to steal your sleep? Now, before we plunge deeper into the uncharted waters of the cosmos, take a second to like, subscribe, and comment, but only if, of course, you genuinely enjoy this cosmic romp through the dark and absurd. Imagine us together, wrapped in blankets, while the universe spills its secrets as we lightly float into that twilight realm where dreams and puzzlement dance like a reluctant couple at a wedding. So, drifting through the sleepy haze of your thoughts, have you ever wondered what it was like for a scientist in the late 1970s, sifting through the cosmic mysteries of existence? Did they sip coffee, half dreaming, while the newspaper headlines proclaimed UFO sightings and political scandals that felt more outlandish than a surreal Saturday Night Live sketch? And what if, just what if, an invisible tide of dark matter passed through their lives without leaving so much as a coffee ring? How on earth do you navigate a reality that includes both existential pondering and your neighbor's insatiable barbecue smoke? Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1977, where bell-bottoms are in fashion, disco is an experience, and scientists across the globe are getting tantalized by the tantalizing allure of something most people can't even see. Picture it. You're in a lab bustling with the intoxicating scent of coffee and ambition, mostly coffee, while scholars toss around ideas about the universe with all the enthusiasm of kids at a candy store. Let's talk about dark matter, a term so fuzzy it sounds like it belongs on a yoga retreat for unmotivated thoughts. Scientists are scratching their heads harder than they do while attempting to assemble IKEA furniture without instructions. You're standing there, surrounded by chalkboards scribbled with equations that look like chicken scratch from a stressed rooster. How can the universe host all these stars and galaxies while its unseen accomplice prances around, checking its watch and rolling its eyes, you think. You might as well be pondering why people still use fax machines. Imagine a glowing chalkboard where Fritz, yes, that's a name you can trust when discussing cosmic mysteries, has just spilled coffee down his lab coat. As you squint at the chaotic scrawls, it dawns on you that dark matter is as vital to the universe as cream is to your morning joe. So astonishingly important, yet unidentifiable. It's like that friend who always seems to be on the guest list, but never shows up to the party. You know they're there, only you can't quite grasp their presence. Ah, but what does that dark matter even feel like, you ponder, and begin to fantasize? Is it as smooth as butter, the kind that spreads evenly on toast, not the kind that's been in your fridge since last summer? Or is it more like feeling around for your keys when you're late, flailing and fumbling through the shadows? The more you think about it, the more you realize it has successfully hijacked your sanity, like that obnoxious pop song stuck in your head. Clearly, the universe has a twisted sense of humor. As you sip your lukewarm coffee, dark matter perhaps lurking at the bottom like the remains of a questionable breakfast, you can't help but wonder about the vastness of this cosmic dance. Was early man pondering the elements while sketching buffalo on cave walls? Maybe he just spilled some dark matter in his own living quarters, baffled by the shadows and the flickering firelight, the OG version of window shopping for existential crises. Can we agree that dark matter is the ultimate introvert of the cosmic world? It shows up to parties, but prefers hiding in the corners, its presence known, yet never acknowledged. It's as if the universe has thrown a get-together and left the shy wallflower to fend for themselves while the stars shine brightly, flaunting their glitter like their neighbors just dropped off cupcakes. "Look at me! I exist!" they seem to shout, while dark matter quietly muses in the back about the life choices leading them to remain invisible. So as you lay back, feeling the weight of those ponderous thoughts, let the invisible tide wash over you like a soothing sea of sleep. Imagine drifting through shadows, those shimmering, enigmatic worlds filled with dark matter's playful giggles and the cosmic absurdity of it all. With each breath, let go of the skepticism, embracing the reality of the unseen, while the universe piques your imagination with a gentle nudge, a reminder that perhaps it knows how to keep a secret or two, leaving you craving its punchlines yet to be revealed. And when you finally doze off, let the mysteries you recently explored drift into the dream world, swirled alongside your own coffee concoctions and unconscious troubles. As the darkness hugs you close, know that the eye of the cosmos rests upon you, unseen yet ever present, tenderly reminding you to dream sweetly, dear traveler, in a universe filled with shadows and wonders waiting to be discovered. With that, we poke fun at life and subtly float toward slumber, chuckling with the dark matter at just how delightful the unknown can be. Chapter 9. The Ears of the Universe Are Listening. Hey guys, tonight we're off to a place even quieter than your uncle's Thanksgiving dinner conversation, deep in the heart of a 1970s radio telescope, perched like a gigantic mechanical ear in a rural field. Imagine, if you will, a colossal metal dish, as reflective and shiny as a disco ball, a sight so surreal that it makes you question if you accidentally wandered onto a movie set for a sci-fi film or a very niche 70s sitcom. It's here that scientists were tuning into the cosmos, hoping to hear from extraterrestrial neighbors, or, at least, avoiding their own earthly responsibilities for a hot second. So, let us take a moment to dim the lights, put on a fan more reliable than your last relationship, and settle in for an adventure that is both relaxing and absurdly enlightening. Ever wondered what it felt like to be a scientist in the late 70s, surrounded by equipment that looked more like a spaceship control panel than anything else? Or faced with the existential dread about why your coffee always goes cold before you finish it, while pondering if the universe is really sending you a message, or if it's just your cat knocking over your coffee mug, seeking attention. Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1977, where the air is thick with the scent of burnt popcorn, polyester pants are the height of fashion, and everyone has an anxiety about whether their bell-bottoms will stay in style until the next millennium. You find yourself standing in the observation deck of the Arecibo Observatory, that majestic metal ear listening intently for alien transmissions. The sky above is a watercolor painting splashed with stars, planets, and possibly a few rocket-fueled dreams of intergalactic travel. Let's take a moment to appreciate the sheer absurdity of this scene. Imagine the scientists shuffling about in lab coats, clutching cups of coffee that are probably more black than your morning. Thoughts, accidentally creating coffee rings on research papers that were meant to unlock the universe's biggest mysteries. Meanwhile, you would be standing there trying to focus your gaze on the sky while thinking about how utterly fascinating it is that we might be the only beings in a universe chock full of swirling galaxies and intriguing shadows. Ah, but that's just the surface of reality. The cosmic punchline is yet to come. Now, as you gaze into the vast cosmos, you might wonder, what does alien communication even sound like? Is it an ear-piercing shriek? Or perhaps it's a smooth jazz fusion that rivals the best of Kenny G. Picture yourself leaning against the cold metal of the dish, daydreaming about the day when a UFO would just take pity on you and decide to invite you aboard for a cosmic latte. However, the only messages the telescope actually picks up are more akin to cosmic burps and celestial static, leaving you scratching your head, mulling over how to interpret space's version of, "Can you hear me now?" As the telescope whirs above you, it's hard to ignore the sensation of being part of something larger, a complex web of secrets and shadows that stretch across the cosmos. But the absurdity doesn't stop there. You see scientists excitedly wearing headphones that look remarkably like the kinds we wear when trying to tune out every family argument over Christmas dinner, ready to decipher the universe's most cryptic texts, or mere interstellar noise that would probably be flagged as spam today. Close your eyes and imagine the sounds. A static hum so profound that it makes you wonder whether the universe is simply taking a leisurely sigh, or if it's engaged in a cosmic rendezvous with thoughts you haven't had yet. And is that a faint sound of laughter? No? Just you? Fair enough. Meanwhile, the thrill is palpable. You could be there, scribbling notes alongside scientists frantically tallying occurrences like children keeping track of candy wrappers after Halloween, while silently wishing for those elusive space friends who promise to come, but always ghost you. Ah, but the equipment. Those buttons and knobs practically beg you to press them. Perhaps one dial tunes in to the latest episode of the Great Galactic Hunt for Signals, while the other taps into the local radio station playing ABBA on repeat. They both possess a similar vibe of quintessentially late 70s absurdity, but alas, one promises distant communication, while the other simply makes you sing along begrudgingly. And when the night's excitement finally gives way to exhaustion, you ponder just how brilliant yet baffling this colossal radio telescope is. A massive structure that listens tirelessly, standing guard like an ancient guardian of secrets, while you've been trying to remain sane after your last Zoom call about the ambiguous interpretation of company budgets. As you lean back under the moonlit sky, the stars blink conspiratorially, inviting you into the age-old dance of humanity, filled with hopes, dreams, and cosmic shadows that remind us all that sometimes the biggest mysteries are right under our noses, or just maybe whispers from an unseen universe. So, take a breath and let the cosmos cradle you as you make peace with the absurdity of it all. With each gentle whisper of wind through the telescope structure, close your eyes and let your thoughts drift skyward, where the unknown beckons you into the depths of sleep. Be it the sound of static or that cosmic laughter echoing above. Remember, this journey is as much about the wild adventure of exploring the universe as it is a soothing lullaby to guide you into the arms of sleep. And who knows, maybe an alien will be your pillow-kissing dream buddy tonight. Sweet dreams, dear cosmos traveler. Sweet dreams, sweet dreams. Chapter 10. The Cosmic Surprise in Red Ink. Hey guys, tonight we're going to embark on a journey more unexpected than finding your favorite socks in the fridge. Like the world of 1977, when your biggest worry was whether your bell-bottoms were flaring enough to make a statement. It's an era where disco reigned supreme. Cell phones were still a distant dream, and computers were as bulky as an overexcited toddler in a candy store. Can you feel the funky energy of the 70s? Did you ever wonder if your computer favorite was hiding dark secrets under a colorful screen, akin to your mom's recipes for mystery casserole? Or how many times your coffee machine frazzled as you tried to program it like a space-age overlord? And how about that lingering question? We could send letters to space, but could they write back? Or would they just ghost us like your high school crush? Congratulations, you've just woken up in the illustrious year of 1977. Picture yourself in a cramped, dimly lit room inside the Arecibo Observatory. an odd blend of scientific genius and questionable decor choices. Posters of Star Wars gradually replaced those of your favorite rock bands. And let's not forget, you're about to share the space with an astronomer who just might be the most excited human since disco was invented. Here's our astronomer, Drake Peterson, who's sporting a sweet mustache that could shelter small animals, and he's about as clueless when it comes to fashion as most of us are after a long week. He's knee-deep in papers, busily circling a specific sequence of letters and numbers printed on a computer output, like it might contain the secret to the universe, or at the very least, the next dance move for Saturday Night Fever. Now, let's talk about what's happening here. You spot him muttering to himself, "What on earth, or in the cosmos, could this mean?" It's as out of place as a pogo stick at a classical music concert, and you can't help but lean closer. As he scribbles furiously, you can almost hear him casting his mind back to the last back and forth with his cat, who, let's face it, was the real source of cosmic wisdom in his life. How can I interpret this? Is it signals from aliens, or just the universe's way of telling me to finally fix the coffee machine? Suddenly, with the zeal of a Viking spotting their long-lost ship, he takes a bright red pen, straightens his glasses, and scribbles, "Wow," in the margin of the printout. Yes, wow. As if he's just read a particularly thrilling grocery list. I mean, who wouldn't be excited to find out there's corn in the cupboard? Now, let's feather your imagination with some sensory details. The air in this little room is a strange blend of burnt coffee, faint pizza, because what's a good night without sustenance, and the inevitable scent of impending enlightenment. He leans back in his ergonomic chair, which looks suspiciously like something your Aunt Margaret would have picked up at a garage sale, and you can almost feel the weight of the universe pressing against his brow. Maybe it's that pizza inspiring him, or perhaps he's just one too many caffeine rushes short of an interstellar breakdown. But as he reviews the results of a recent observation, it's hard not to imagine him thinking, what if aliens are just far more disorganized than I am? What if all they've got is an endless loop of disco hits? You chuckle at the thought. Extraterrestrials doing the hustle while sending space signals decided to add a little rhythm to the scientific mix. And while your mind plays these wild scenarios, you can't help but picture what the aliens might be listening to. Could it be a cosmic remix of the Bee Gees? Or perhaps a galactic ballad about their favorite space cat, where the main star is definitely not Drake's cat, but rather one with its own interstellar Instagram following? Back to the task at hand. As Drake continues to analyze data and hone in on the cosmic radio waves, they reveal what's possibly the universe's best-kept secret. A strong, mysterious signal repeating from a distant part of the sky. With every passing moment, his joy transforms into a mild panic. He hadn't prepared for this. It's one thing to chat with his cat about life on Mars. It's another to think he might actually be onto something big. Like a cosmic detective determined to crack the universe's silliest riddles, he bounds from one chaos to the next. It's surprisingly relatable, don't you think? The sheer uncertainty of your next Zoom meeting, or trying to remember if you left the oven on.
Everyone has been there. As he mutters to himself more and checks every scrap of the printout, like a parent desperate for answers from a toddler, you can practically feel the tension in the air. It's the late 70s chaos of scientific discovery mixed with the laughter of another day.
In life's absurd circus. With excitement bubbling up, he snaps his fingers. I've got to tell the team. Because nothing screams professional excellence like breaking the news of possible extraterrestrial life with a half-eaten slice of pizza in hand. And just like that, with letters and numbers circling madly, you get swept up in the whirlwind of Drake's discovery. A moment more thrilling than finishing a jigsaw puzzle of the Sistine Chapel, only to find you're missing one piece, and that piece is now officially lost in orbit. As you bask in this moment, surrounded by the hum of machines and the scent of burnt offerings, aka the pizza, the absurdity washes over you again. Could this seriously be the moment that changes everything? Laughter mingles with anticipation in the air, whispering sweet nothings of unanswered questions as a serene calm settles in. So, as the night deepens, remember to let the wonders of the cosmos lull you into a dreamy abyss, all while knowing that no matter how complex life becomes, sometimes all you really need is a pizza and a bit of cosmic curiosity to get through it. Sweet dreams, fellow cosmic traveler. Chapter 11. The Cosmic Crumbs from a Distant Picnic. Hey guys, tonight we're diving into something so bizarre, it's like unearthing an ancient potato chip bag wrapped in a sci-fi narrative. The strange saga of radio waves that tickled Earth's ears back in the cosmic chaos of 1977. Here we were, living our best disco lives and trying to remember not to burn the Jiffy Pop, while somewhere in the universe a star was waving hello in Morse code, or at least trying to. Imagine the excitement, or at least the confusion, of being a person in the late 1970s, where hairstyles could defy gravity and everything was just a bit more colorful than your living room couch after a summer barbecue. Remember when having a satellite dish made you feel like a space-age icon? Did you ever wonder if you accidentally tuned in to the intergalactic version of a reality show? Or better yet, did aliens huddle around their reception doing the moonwalk, waiting for their favorite sitcom to air? Picture this. You've just jolted awake in a sun-drenched control room at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico, a setup that's part high-tech wonderland and part how did we get here experience. Inside the cavernous space, the colossal radio telescope looms, poking at the sky like a giant listener trying to catch all the cosmic gossip. The air is thick with anticipation, perhaps a whiff of something resembling burnt toast, but that's neither here nor there. Welcome to 1977, folks. You've swapped your cozy, familiar chaos for a potluck of scientific discovery, where your host is none other than the mustached marvel himself, Dr. Frank Drake. Yes, that same dude who could easily win the title of Best 70s Scientist Chic. Think leggy trousers, patterned shirts, and the kind of glasses that could double as a protective shield from unsightly stares. It's a calm evening, and here we are, surrounded by the rhythmic hum of machines, echoing sounds that you could swear or orchestrating the world's slowest symphony. But what is it that grabs his attention, you ponder, sipping your non-precise, mysteriously fizzy soda? Well, you see, Dr. Drake isn't just going through the motions, oh no. He's hunched over a printout that could easily be mistaken for an overprocessed punch card, circling sequences of numbers and letters like a toddler on an art spree. Suddenly, a peculiar flare of numbers prances across the monitor. He squints, scribbles, and mutters, "Could this really be it?" The startling signal from the Pisces constellation. Imagine it as a cheeky extraterrestrial sending signals way too loud for their own good, has washed up on Earth's shore. Just for a moment, the universe has sent a sweet little postcard, and you can imagine it throwing a nonchalant wink your way, saying something like, "Greetings from the cosmos, to infinity and awkward dance moves." The offbeat rhythm of Dr. Drake's heart is palpable. His excitement bounces off the walls, filling the room like confetti at a balloon animal convention. In this euphoric moment, you can almost hear him think, "Surely aliens exist. Even my cat believes in life on Mars." And who wouldn't think that way after a long day of deciphering cosmic breadcrumbs? As he scrutinizes the results, the ratio of giggles to gasps grows. He cheerfully announces, "This might just be the best evidence of extraterrestrial life, or, an elaborate radio prank. We'll know soon enough." Eyes bright, like those of a child who's just been given the keys to the candy store, he leans closer. You can practically hear the gears in his mind clicking. What if aliens are just incredibly confused DJs trying to beam their latest hits to Earth? Imagine that. A galaxy filled with distant disco parties and wobbly extraterrestrial beings doing the robot just so they could throw us a signal or two. He chuckles nervously, or perhaps they just want to swap. Recipes, because what's more intriguing than external intelligence? An external recipe for the perfect pizza, perhaps. And as you sit there in the observatory, ensconced in the silliness of it all, alarms start to go off, with a soft beep, reminiscent of an old oven timer. What's happening now, you mused, as Dr. Drake pivots into action. It could be a breakthrough, or just my lunch protesting against the twisty path of pizza crumbs. Either way, curiosity hath sprung forth like a joyous spring flower, or a misplaced sock lost amidst the folds of a couch. As Drake pedals through data and predictions, the distant cosmic signal dances in and out like a shy neighbor at a block party. Could it be real? Or is it just Earth's way of giving cosmic physics a much-needed makeover? You ponder how a single blip in a puzzling universe could be your gateway to an upgraded understanding of life beyond your grocery list. So, dear cosmic voyagers, as we sail on this delightful dreamboat, remember, sometimes the mysteries of existence might just be as ridiculous as Bill's terrible taste in Hawaiian shirts. Everything could unfold in the tranquility of a signal, waving like a lost sock at a cosmic picnic. So, let your heart be light, and may you drift into the soothing embrace of the universe, one gentle signal at a time. Sweet dreams, my fellow stargazers. Chapter 12. The Whispering Shadows of Satellites. Hey guys, tonight We're sailing into something darker than your ex's sense of humor. The ethereal loneliness of a satellite floating through the velvety void of space, desperately trying to make friends with very, very distant stars. You might wonder, what's the deal with all those shadows in the universe? Are they just shy celestial bodies avoiding social interaction? Or is the cosmos really just a cosmic hide-and-seek champion? But before we plunge headfirst into this astral investigation with all the grace of a zero-gravity ballet dancer, do us a little favor. If you're enjoying this cosmic detour as much as that double cheese sandwich you hide from your coworkers, like, subscribe, and maybe throw us a comment. Just a friendly nudge. Only if you're feeling it, of course. Now, let's lower the lights, crank up the air conditioning like it's a deluxe summer breeze, and settle in with our cosmic couch softener. Now imagine you're drifting in the late 1970s, a time when bell-bottoms were in full swing and everyone's biggest fear was catching the ailing case of disco fever. But here you are, way up in space, floating alongside a very lonely satellite. Could it be lonely due to the lack of Wi-Fi? Or perhaps it's reflecting on life's decisions, like that time you ate 2 extra slices of cake at the office party. Picture it. This satellite, let's call it Lonely Linda, has been scanning the vast black tapestry of the universe for signs of life, like a digital detective armed with cosmic catnip. You see, Linda has one job, and that's to listen to the whispers of life under different suns, to the soft giggles of galaxies far, far away. But what does she hear? Nothing but silence, darker than a back row movie theater during the credits. As Linda whizzes past countless celestial wonders, stars twinkling like the most hopeful of disco lights, she can't help but ponder some deep philosophical questions. Am I alone in the universe? Is there even a life form out there that enjoys an extra spoonful of sugar in their coffee? Or has everyone collectively decided espresso shots are the way to go? If she had eyes, they would be rolling skyward with a significant sigh. But alas, as with every good dramatic tale, there's a twist. You see, silence doesn't mean emptiness. It just means the universe prefers awfully quiet cocktail parties where the guest list includes entirely too many black holes. Just imagine all those swirling enigmas, the cosmic voids, sneaking about silently, possibly throwing their own interstellar rave while Linda takes her inventory of comets and asteroids. It's like a cosmic party where no one texted the RSVP. Now, let's talk about the eerie shadows that loiter in space like awkward teenagers at a dance. When Linda examines the cosmos with her meticulous radar, she might detect regions so dark they would make even the most devout goth rethink their wardrobe choices. Scientists have labeled these expanses as dark matter, but honestly, if you ask the universe nicely, it might just confess to harboring an intense fondness for dramatic flair. How weird is it to think about dark matter? It's like the universe's way of keeping the most delicious secrets while simultaneously confusing humanity into thinking it's an extra on a space-driven soap opera, as the universe turns. Tonight's episode features mysterious shadows playing hard to get, while Nancy the Nebula reflects on her decision to date a dying star. And you wonder, could it be that these specters of shadow are mere cosmic introverts? Maybe they're simply waiting for that one extroverted photon to say hello and spark some kind of celestial cocktail chat. Yet, with no human-like Tinder app to bring them together, it remains a cosmic guessing game. Imagine an entire universe filled with shy celestial bodies avoiding each other like awkward relatives in a family gathering. You'd kind of want to shake your head and ask, can't we just share a drink and chat about the multi-dimensional complexities of existence? As one cosmic moment turns to the next, Linda continues her journey through the eternal blur of darkness, endlessly hoping for a signal, a spark of life, or, maybe just a low-budget sci-fi sitcom to binge-watch in the meantime. Will someone please send me the playlist for an interstellar road trip, preferably with less abstract art and a little more journeying through warm star systems? So, here you lie, with the twinkle of one giant screen in the sky, contemplating the fate of lonely Linda, the reluctant satellite. In this expanse of infinite quietude, she remains hopeful, reading the cosmic tea leaves, dreaming of neighbors, while perhaps harboring a strange desire to whistle Dancing Queen to the distant stars. Because sometimes, my cosmic comrades, the void just needs an occasional funky beat. And who knew that shadowy figures might just be biding their time for when the dance floor lights come on and disco fever is set to explode, albeit thousands of light years away. So let your mind meander through the cosmos. Find comfort in the mysteries of existence. And remember, sometimes the real magic happens in the dark, where even the shadows just might be too shy to speak. Sweet dreams, my fellow stargazers. Chapter 13. The Sisters of Sunnyham. Hey guys, tonight we're strolling more gently than a cat on a hot tin roof. A picturesque English town in the late 1950s where the air is filled with the fragrance of freshly baked scones and cheerful gossip flutters like butterflies in a summertime garden. Can you believe it? A time when the biggest tech advancement was possibly the rotary phone, and coffee was brewed in a pot with more mystery than your Aunt Mildred's sock drawer. You might be asking yourself, what can these two sisters, bundled up in coats and hats as they walk to church, possibly teach me? And let me tell you, plenty. For instance, do you recall the last time you had to walk anywhere in shoes that didn't quite fit? Or how about the sheer joy of hearing the church bell ring, only to realize it's announcing the start of a sermon that could last longer than your last family reunion? Surprisingly, it's loaded with life lessons, hilarity, and perhaps more than a few side eyes thrown at poorly baked communion biscuits. Now, before we dive deeper into the glorious misadventures of these adorable, history-laden siblings, let's take a moment to dim those lights, like you're trying to fool your neighbors into thinking your house is a cozy little candle shop. Get comfy. There's nothing worse than falling asleep in a position that feels like a game of Twister gone wrong. And if you're enjoying this little journey back in time, feel free to like, subscribe, and drop a comment, but only if your thumbs aren't busy clutching a cup of tea or a delightful biscuit. Imagine this. You've just woken up in 1957, the year hairdos were bigger than your future dreams, and everyone thought that record players were the peak of modern technology. A time when apps meant Aunt Dottie's famous apple pie recipe. It's a beautiful sunny day, and you're gazing out at a narrow road dotted with cheerful cottages, like you're walking directly into a postcard. You can practically feel the warmth of the sun on your face, a feeling akin to that of a gentle hug from your overly affectionate grandmother. As you stroll down the winding path, two young sisters catch your eye. They're a sight to behold, wrapped snugly in coats that might be last season's fashion, complete with amusingly oversized hats that could almost double as small umbrellas. You wonder if they'll need those hats to shield them from the cheeky British drizzle that could pop out of nowhere at any given moment, akin to your uncle's surprise karaoke rendition of My Way. Let's talk about their adventure. Picture it, the delightful sounds of their chatter blending harmoniously with the gentle rustle of leaves. It's a sweet symphony, interrupted only by the occasional squawk from a curious crow, reminding them that they really forgot to refill the bird feeder. Ever tried to explain modern-day birdseed brands to your feathered friends? It's like explaining esports strategies to your pet goldfish. You just know it's going to end in confusion and a little splash. Now, as they march along, you can't help but notice the quality of their footwear. Those shoes. Why do they look like they're one accidental slip away from an unplanned dance-off with every puddle they encounter? One sister, let's call her Iris, seems far too confident. Her vivid descriptions of fashionable shoes spitting defiance at the dreary old weather. Meanwhile, the other, Madge, is gripping her sister's arm with the trepidation of someone who may need to summon emergency services at any moment due to an impending shoe-related crisis. Suddenly, Iris announces, "I could sell my old shoes to that nice Mr. Thompson at the shoe shop, and maybe he'll throw in some extra polish." At which point, Madge raises an eyebrow as if she's deciphering a riddle and responds, "Are you sure you want to part with them, Iris? They're already so polished, one might mistake them for an actual shoe-shining business." Ah, the playful banter of sisterhood. It's enchanting, really, how each comment dances like leaves in that slight breeze. As they approach the old church, the sun suddenly burrows behind a cloud, as if it received an uninvited text message and is now contemplating what snacks to bring for the social hour. Once inside, the smell of polished wood mingles with the faint scent of incense that likely hasn't seen a fresh batch since the last harvest moon. The wooden pews sit more invitingly than an English pub at closing hour, though still a bit uncomfortable for those of us with an aversion to splinters. Listen closely as Madge murmurs to Iris, "Do you think we'll get a biscuit after the service?" You chuckle. It's a question that really strikes at the heart of life's true dilemmas. Whether or not the church's weak offerings of dry cookies could ever hope to satisfy the sweet cravings that bubble to the surface after spending an hour listening to possibly boring hymns. Amidst all the chatter, laughter, and those trademark British biscuits that are about as dry as a witless joke, those sisters remind us all, whether life throws unexpected showers, slippery shoes, or an unyielding craving for sweets, you might as well step out with a smile. Because if there's one thing more stubborn than two sisters walking side by side, it's certainly the spirit of camaraderie wrapped in cozy coats, prepared to face
whatever absurdities the day might bring, with perhaps a delightful dusting of adventure along the way. So here you are, enamored with these charming townsfolk and their antics, letting the soft lull of laughter seep into your dreams. Perhaps, just perhaps, the world can be a merry little place where shadows are merely the remnants of the light, and where life unfolds with all the richness of a homemade pie fresh from the oven. Sweet dreams, dear
Listener, may your nights be filled with delightful sisterly banter and more biscuits than you can shake a stick at. Chapter 14. The Black Car Blues. Hey guys, tonight we're cruising through a tale more twisted than a pretzel at a county fair. Picture a vintage black car veering wildly down a cobblestone street, complete with the soundtrack of screeching tires that would make your grandmother scream louder than a cat in a bathtub. You know, the kind of scene that leaves modern-day drivers grateful for their air conditioning and airbags, and just a tad amused at the thought of someone trying to parallel park such a beast without a GPS telling them every 5 minutes, recalculating. One might ask, what kind of absurd trouble can a mere car cause in 1977? Well, dear listener, grab your hypothetical seatbelt and brace yourself, because this story's about to take a hairpin turn. But before we race ahead, let's take a moment to dim those lights, like you're auditioning for a low-budget vampire film, and snuggle up in your favorite blanket, so cozy it might as well be a warm hug from your favorite childhood teddy bear. And while you're reading this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment, though of course, only if you're not busy arguing with your cat over who gets the last piece of pizza. Now, let's have a chat about cobblestone streets. Ever walk down those medieval-style vestibules, your shoes clacking like an anxious tap dancer? It's like trying to stroll through an obstacle course designed by a mischievous raccoon. Each stone is an unyielding challenge, like your neighbor handing you a platter of dry cupcakes at the last-minute potluck. You've got one goal, not to tumble or slide off the path, while simultaneously giving your shoes the workout of their life. It's as confusing as trying to decode a toddler's crayon masterpiece. Imagine this scene. A black car, slicker than a greased weasel, attempts to navigate this picturesque chaos. Its polished surface gleams with the sheen of splendid craftsmanship, and you can almost hear it purr like a particularly well-fed house cat. But in that moment, a squirrel, not a particularly bright one, jumps into the path, leading our driver to make a desperate maneuver that would make any car insurance agent break into a cold sweat. You might ask yourself, is this squirrel now living its best life, or preparing for a surprise audition on America's Got Squirrel Talent? Spoiler alert. It's a little bit of both, as the car swerves left, right, then left again, reminiscent of your last attempt to keep your balance in a spinning teacup ride. Tension builds faster than a roller coaster at an amusement park, the black car flying down the tongue of cobblestones like a stressed-out goose on a midnight stroll. Before you know it, there's a loud crash that will echo through the ages, and it's not from the grand piano you bought when you thought you might become the next Bach. This beautiful black car, a classical marvel of its time, spins to a halt with a dramatic flair that would make Shakespeare proud if his plays included melodramatic car chases and overly opinionated squirrels, of course. As our poor car finally lays to rest on the cobblestones, just imagine the passing townsfolk gaping at the whole debacle. "Well, that's one way to ruin a perfectly lovely Wednesday afternoon," one might remark, as another person comments how the local bakery is likely to have fresher pastries by the time the owner decides to recover from the shock of the squirrel-induced calamity. You know, it's like the universe's own comedic rendition of a sitcom episode, complete with absurd plot twists and bewildered characters. But let's talk about the aftermath, my dear night owls. The driver, a flustered fellow wearing a shirt that might as well be the mascot of bad fashion decisions, decides it's time to assess the damage, because nothing is quite so charming as a detective role play with your own vehicle. Climbing out of the wreck, with the elegance of a three-legged giraffe, he soon treated to the delightful chorus of onlookers debating whether he was trying to channel James Bond or simply audition for an interpretive dance about vehicular misfortune. And here lies the crux. This not-so-fateful day would become legend, discussed at every town gathering faster than tales of Grandma Edna's infamous baked beans. You know the ones that could double as glue if Grandma ever decided to take up home improvement projects. The car's demise would be transformed into a story reflecting the absurdity of life, a tale of unexpected twists, comical collisions, and the perpetual game of dodgeball with destiny itself. Think about it. How often has life thrown a curveball that sent you wobbling in every possible direction? Perhaps it was a promotion that turned out to be a bring-your-pet-to-work day surprise. Or maybe it was that time your bread started resembling a prehistoric creature more than a dinner roll. Life, and our vintage friend on wheels, offers plenty of lessons wrapped in the cutest, most convoluted packages, teaching us about resilience, humor, and the nightly absurdity the universe loves to throw at us like confetti at a mismanaged wedding. So as you drift off into slumber, let the echoes of our misadventurous car expedition linger like a pleasant dream, one of laughs rather than leaps, and one that invites you to embrace life's wacky ride. Because if nothing else, tonight's journey reminds us, sometimes it's not about reaching your destination, it's about how ridiculously fun and twisted you look spinning out along the way. Sweet dreams, dear listener. May you wake refreshed and thoroughly entertained by your own little adventures and mishaps when the sun greets you in the morning light. Chapter 15. Meet the Daring Dolls. Hey guys, tonight we're tumbling down the rabbit hole of nostalgia, where the air smells like crayons and daydreams. Imagine, if you will, two twin baby girls, approximately as mischievous as caffeinated kittens, frolicking joyfully in a treasure trove of old toys. The year is 1977, a time when hairstyles defied gravity, and music was so vibrant it practically wore sequins. Think of it as a world where polyester ruled the playground, and disco balls flickered like their imaginations. Before we dive into this delightful dollhouse drama, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and comment, although only if the prospect of giggling at vintage whimsy tickles your fancy, of course. And now, as we gently drift into our retro reverie, dim the lights, cozy up like a burrito in your favorite blanket, and let your mind play dress-up with the past. Have you ever wondered what life was like for kids in the late 70s? Were they pondering the philosophical implications of bell-bottoms? Did they believe that roller skates could solve all their problems? What was the secret to keeping a pet rock from rolling away? And most importantly, were gummies truly a food group? Congratulations! You've just woken up in a kaleidoscope of swirling colors, laughter, and the smell of freshly opened plastic toy boxes. Now, let's venture into this joy-filled abyss. Picture the scene. The soft carpet beneath those tiny feet is as orange as a creamsicle, and the walls are covered in wallpaper that looks like a whimsical carnival exploded. The toys scattered around are like time travelers brought back from an era of unfiltered joy. You can almost hear the nostalgic echoes of the Bee Gees crooning in the background as you witness the captivating chaos. The twins, giggling like cartoon characters, begin their grand expedition, embarking on an imaginative journey through a collection of dolls that could tell tales far more dramatic than any soap opera. There's Mabel, the dolly with two missing button eyes, whose stilted grin seems to conceal the secrets of forgotten tea parties. In her hands is a tiny plastic coffee cup that looks oddly like a spaceship. Did she have an adventurous career as an intergalactic barista? Your guess is as good as theirs. Look, it's baby Annabelle, one shrieks, clutching the doll as if it were the Holy Grail. She likes to wear raincoats, and then she gets gooey like a blueberry pie. The other twin squeals with delight. And she's got magic powers that turn milk into pancakes, but only on Thursdays. In this peculiar realm of imagination, reality takes a back seat, and the absurd becomes the norm. Just like the era they're emulating, these girls concoct backstories worthy of a Shakespearean drama, one wherein they duel over who gets to give the dolls haircuts with imaginary safety scissors. Ever seen a doll with bangs that look like they just survived a wind tunnel? Trust me, it's as hilarious as it sounds. But you might be wondering, how did these little girls become the artistic visionaries behind such wild tales? Think about it. Isn't everyone a bit of an actor when they are fully engaged in play? Just like kids today using smartphones to capture their lives, these young adventurers are busy creating epic sagas unlikely to earn them daytime Emmy nominations. Picture it. Mabel, now sporting a trendy top hat made from an old yogurt cup, leads a secret society of misfit dolls, all of whom have mysteriously developed strong opinions about their wardrobe choices. "I demand glitter," proclaims Fancy Franny Dolly, clutching an overly sequined cape. Meanwhile, the twins, with the fervor of theater majors auditioning for their big break, enact a sequence of extravagant plot twists. "But wait," exclaims one while pretending to dial a tiny imaginary phone. "What will we do if the cakes suddenly come alive and chase us down the street?" One can only imagine the shrieks that follow as they spin tales so dramatic they'd make the finest Netflix shows seem like boring PowerPoint presentations. Now and then, the twins take a break from their improvised dramas to reevaluate their doll collection's wardrobe, flinging clothes about like confetti in a mildly chaotic ceremony honoring fashion lost in the fog of time. She can't wear those polyester pants. They clash with her existential crisis. And there you have it, friends. Existential crises offered up with choice pieces from 70s attire. Welcome to the world of toddler fashion critiques, where the stakes are as high as a tower of blocks that might just tumble at any moment, and probably will for comedic effect. The two sisters relish in the incredible storytelling, losing track of time while the sunlight wanes like a golden hour filter on a social media post. Occasionally, their parents will poke their heads inside, amused at the whirlwind of creativity unfolding before them, already putting money on who will emerge victorious in the next round of this energetic investigation into doll life in a time capsule. As dusk falls, the toys take on shadows, perfectly embodying the unexplained mysteries of this time, both whimsical and peculiar. The twins are still clinging to their stories of bold, caffeinated dolls that could surely give adulthood a run for its money. Squeezed into their makeshift fort made of blankets, their journey through dolls of the past ends with sleepy giggles and a gentle reminder of the magic that sleeps within the imagination. Who knew that old toys could hold such powerful stories, whisking you to a time where fun and imagination roamed free? As you begin to drift off, dear listener, let the echoes of that wild afternoon linger like the remnants of a bedtime story, an inspiring tale filled with laughter, nostalgia, and just a sprinkle of beautifully absurd creativity. Sweet dreams as you find yourself wandering through your own toy box of memories, dancing among shadows and spinning adventures that may just make you wake up with a smile tomorrow morning. Chapter 16. The Whispering Shadows of 1977. Hey guys, tonight we're diving headfirst into a world filled with more surprises than a cat in a bathtub. The tranquil and quirky year of 1977. Picture this. The scent of hairspray hangs in the air like a fog bank on a Monday morning. The radio crackles with disco hits, and good luck finding a dad without a massive mustache. Now, before we slip into this time warp, let me gently nudge you. If you enjoy giggling absently at the absurdities of life, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and maybe throw us a comment about your personal mustache journey. But only if you actually enjoy this experience, of course. So dim the lights, prop up that pillow like it's the crown of a sleepy kingdom, and allow your thoughts to wander. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to not have Google at your fingertips? To rely on those ink-smudged, incoherent maps instead? How many carnivals could you lose yourself in before realizing you've totally forgotten which way is home? And seriously, were the sidewalk games of your youth any more thrilling than the Olympic sport of Googling how to cook with tinfoil today? Congratulations. You've just woken up in 1977, a year filled with bell-bottoms, mixed tapes, and an actual world where you had to dial a rotary phone like you were attempting to summon a genie from an old oil lamp. Let's paint the scene. You stand in a cozy, sun-drenched living room that smells
faintly of popcorn and feigned adulthood. Because, let's be real, who really knows what a tax form means at this age? As you glance around, you see your two young daughters, tiny whirlwinds of giggles and boundless imagination, strategically set up for a mini civilization in their modest but spectacular play fort, constructed hastily from couch cushions and an entire bookcase's worth of old National Geographic magazines. With wild abandon, they are pointing excitedly at a collection of faded postcards from
distant lands, while their mismatched pajamas proclaim their fashion choice as, "I just woke up, and you can't make me change." The girls have never laid eyes on these postcards before. Somehow, they've absorbed every detail as if they were born with wisdom bestowed by the universe itself. "That's the Eiffel Tower," yells one, her voice dripping with the kind of confidence usually reserved for seasoned travel bloggers. "And look, that's the Great Wall of China. It's so big you can see it from space." Now, curious father that you are, you can't help but ponder, how in the name of all that's colorful and plaid do your daughters know about landmarks they've never visited? You lean in closer, a swirling fog of bewilderment coupled with amusement descending upon you. You've stumbled upon miniature oracle cards that come alive each time they giggle about daring adventures. If only they could harness this knowledge for school projects, right? The one that seems more attuned to the whimsical world of geography continues. "And there's Mount Everest. But wait, isn't that where the Yeti lives?" A small pause follows as both girls widen their eyes like saucers at the thought of a snow-dwelling creature sporting an impressive mane of hair, possibly reminiscent of Dad when he forgets to trim his locks for a month. At this point, you'd like to step in with the kind of parental concern that rises in your throat like a rogue cupcake. "Yeah, honey, but if the Yet..." only to be promptly interrupted. "Shush, Dad. The Yeti could be our pet, and we'd take him to school." Ah, the unexplained layers of childhood logic, the finest paradox you'll ever encounter. Why have a dog when you can have a mythical creature with a taste for snow and a dramatic flair that would put any Broadway star to shame? As they twirl about while discussing travel hotspots, your living room slowly morphs into a bizarre geography conference, where one sister explains the relationship between penguins and icebergs in a voice so earnest it could sway politicians. "No, really, they hold igloo parties there." You can hardly hold back a tender laugh and a sigh, somewhere between mirth and slight existential dread, because, honestly, who needs the 5-year plan when you can have igloo parties as a life goal? With dusk settling in, the light in the room begins to soften, casting shadows that dance across the walls. Those shadows, curious and mysterious, remind you of the silliness of adult expectations. Maybe they whisper secrets of uncharted adventures yet to come, where every discarded toy has a story begging to be told. But that's a thought for another time. Traffic jams and stress seem far away as you surrender to the charm of the moment, where shadows melt into laughter and the girls uncover myriad new worlds, limitless in imagination. How liberating it is to witness their exploration of a land that dances beautifully along the edges of the known and unknown. perhaps much like the inexplicable shadows that tend to sneak around the corners of our own lives. As you tuck them in later, their soft murmurs intertwining with dreams of yetis and snow parties, you can't help but chuckle gently. After all, who needs logic and geographical accuracy when you've got two explorers armed with the kind of creativity that can turn old postcards into gateways to adventure? And as you drift off yourself, might you remember to embrace the playful spirit of life's mysteries and strange whispers? Maybe, just maybe, your own shadows have a tale or two to share as you reconnect with that quirky, whimsical heart that once believed in everything. Sweet dreams, dear listener, as you slip into your own adventures of the night, where the unexplained welcomes your imagination like an old friend. Chapter 17. The Uncanny Resemblance of Sisters. Hey guys, tonight we're uncovering a mystery as perplexing as your aunt's infamous potato salad recipe. The shocking similarities found between two sets of sisters, separated by decades, but united by uncanny facial features that make even the most seasoned genealogists question if someone didn't just hit copy-paste on their family tree. Now, before we warp through time like we're headed to a family reunion in a DeLorean, let me gently remind you, if you chuckle at the absurdities we share, a thumbs up from you would be as delightful as finding a forgotten piece of cake in the back of your fridge. Subscribe if you're feeling especially adventurous, and drop a comment about your own family mysteries. You know, if you actually enjoy this experience, of course. So, dim those lights, fluff that pillow as if it were a delicate soufflé, and prepare to embark on a journey through time, a journey that's less about philosophical debates and more about, let's face it, genetics, quirks, and a sprinkle of cosmic joke. Have you ever caught yourself staring at your family photos thinking, is that my sister or my grandma's doppelganger from the 1970s? Or considered how your best friend could have just as easily been born decades earlier wearing a polyester jumpsuit with matching platform shoes? What's with the shadows in the background of old photos that seem to whisper, plot twist, and make you regret binging that entire series on family scandals last weekend? Congratulations. You've just woken up in the thrilling embrace of a dusty old scrapbook that holds secrets older than your grandmother's secret stash of cookies. Will you uncover the mystery behind two sets of sisters who look so similar they could easily pass off as star-crossed time travelers? Could these uncanny features reveal more about your own family than expected? As you leaf through the scrapbook, the pages crinkle faintly like a snack bag, promising way more crunch than it can deliver. The photographs are a delightful assembly of yesteryear. Think 1977 meets the late modern era, where bell-bottoms mingled with skinny jeans in an awkward yet charming dance-off. In one creased corner, you see a pair of sisters, hair cascading like waves of burnt toast, proudly sporting matching floral print dresses that scream, "We definitely got made fun of in school." Their expressions capture pure childhood mischief, as if they conspired to hide the cat in the neighbor's hedge and possibly prick their fingers on a rogue rosebush. And then, voila! It's their modern counterparts, their faces practically begging to be enhanced by the same gloss filters while pouting with the confidence of social media influencers. They're decked in turtlenecks that declare, "I have a savings account, and I plan to use it on oat milk lattes." Those same blue eyes and mischievous smiles, it's a stunning case of familial déjà vu, as though they just time-traveled back from brunch in Brooklyn to crash a 70s roller disco. You can't help but marvel. What is the cosmic connection that links these sisters? Is it just genetics playing a trick? Or have they transcended both time and style with all the grace of a giraffe on roller skates? As you ponder this, the distant sounds of laughter and music waft from somewhere in your imagination, like a celebratory salad being tossed in midair, except, of course, a very dysfunctional family gathering. Flipping through the pages, you read tales of adventures that include accidentally dyeing their hair fire truck red instead of that subtle auburn they requested. Oh, the ages before Pinterest, where trial and error was a family bonding activity that often trimmed your hairline by at least a half-inch and challenged family DIY skills. The scrapbook might as well be titled, "How to be Stylishly Awkward for Generations," proudly showcasing a few sweet potato pie recipes scrawled in the margins, likely future casualties of holiday gatherings. Let's set the scene even further. It's a bustling kitchen in the heart of the home, and your family is frantically preparing for a reunion. Imagine the aromas of burnt cinnamon rolls and an overly ambitious pot of chili lingering in the air, while arguments over who can make the best mac and cheese swirl like clouds of dandelion fluff around everyone's heads. Now, picture your mom, ever the curator of awkwardly heartfelt moments, pulling at her hairspray-laden bangs as she reminisces about how, "Back in my day, we just used whatever was in the fridge and called it a casserole." She could be holding an old photograph of her little sisters, and suddenly it all hits you. Those very faces are peeking through the mists of her memories like little nuggets of sibling love and chaos. Well into the night, after everyone is too stuffed with food and nostalgic stories, a shadow flits across the room. A sibling moment, perhaps, or maybe it's just the cat once again on an espionage mission to defeat the scariest dust bunny lurking in the corner. This time, though, it feels different. Do shadows hold the stories of those who came before? As you drift off to sleep, perhaps you too will dream of those echoed voices, dancing between the past and present, encouraging you to embrace the oddity of resemblance, whispered through side-eyed glances and unspoken family jokes. Ah, sweet dreams, dear listener. May your own family stories weave rich, comedic tapestries in the tender darkness of night, where every shadow is a reminder of laughter past, and every resemblance is a love letter from those who came before. And remember, the next time you catch a glimpse of your sister and think, OMG, we are basically time travelers, keep that scrapbook handy. It's bound to inspire more laugh-filled family tales that will comfort and amuse for generations to come. Chapter 18, A Board Meeting in the Skies. Hey guys, tonight we're soaring to new heights, much like your ambition during a 2 a.m. existential crisis. Get ready for a ride that's shinier than a banker's briefcase and more stuffed than the overhead compartments on your last flight. Welcome aboard a 1977 airplane. Now, before we get started, let me ask, when was the last time you were wedged into a tiny seat, your knees suspiciously mating with the stranger next to you, while contemplating life's greatest mysteries like, why does airplane food taste like disappointment wrapped in foil? Ever wondered why the safety briefing sounds like a monotone lullaby that could put a caffeinated squirrel to sleep? Or how a man can look simultaneously dapper in a dark suit and somehow be as uncomfortable as a toucan in a tuxedo? Let's not forget the flight attendants who glide down the aisle like graceful swans, expertly avoiding the flailing arms of someone desperately seeking their next in-flight snack. Congratulations! You've just woken up in 1977, the time when disco was king, and the only thing rattling louder than the plane was the questionable fondue at your neighbor's party. Imagine, if you will, the air is thick with excitement. You take a deep breath, and it smells faintly of peanuts and industrial-grade air freshener. There you are, seated next to a man in his mid-40s, adorned in a dark suit that would make James Bond weep with envy. A man whose essence could best be described as corporate chic meets airplane chic, if that's even a thing. Just picture that mother-of-pearl tie clip glinting ominously in the plane's overhead lighting as he hands a note to a flight attendant, his expression seemingly calm despite the turbulence of the world below. Your curiosity is piqued. What could be so important that it couldn't wait for a landing? Is he requesting a second snack? A referral for a great therapist? Or possibly a cloaked message about the secret lives of polka-dotted llamas? Spoiler alert, it's probably not the latter. As the plane lifts off, engines roaring like a band of caffeinated elephants, you catch snippets of conversation around you. Two businessmen in the row behind are discussing the very serious matter of replacing office furniture. Their debate goes back and forth, fervently detailing the merits of swivel chairs as if they were discussing the latest intercontinental crisis. It's like a podcast you never asked for, the thrilling odyssey of office supplies. One man passionately argues that without the perfect ergonomic chair, productivity will plummet faster than your cousin during a game of musical chairs at family reunions. Meanwhile, to your left, a mother is desperately trying to entertain her crying toddler, whose tantrum sounds uncomfortably akin to a banshee auditioning for a Broadway musical. Every time she pulls out a toy, the child seems to find it more amusing to throw it down the aisle with the precision of a seasoned baseball pitcher. A real feat of engineering, reminiscent of those days your friends gathered in the backyard, crafting delicate but disastrous rockets. You lean back, sensing the allure of the clouds outside. The blue is deeper than the mysteries of the universe. Is that a sheep up there? Maybe a rogue cloud seeking adventure. Oh, if only clouds had a passport and could share tales of floating past grandmas in their homes, watching over candlelit kitchen tables, mashed potatoes in midair, while the dog plots a heist for the last dinner roll. Suddenly, the seatbelt sign dings. Oh, sweet cheese in a can. You weren't ready for this. The pilot's voice crackles through the speaker, sounding more like your dad trying to explain the intricacies of tax deductions than a seasoned aviator navigating the vast unknown. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now cruising at an altitude of 30,000 feet. Unexpected turbulence may occur. Please remain seated and don't panic like this is a ride at the county fair. This reassurance feels as comforting as a warm blanket made of potato chips. In that moment, you can't help but laugh softly to yourself. How ridiculous life is. Here you are, defying gravity, nestled next to a man who probably had no idea he'd signed up for business class comedy hour. What if you, too, were handed a note? A charming little love letter to the universe, perhaps. An affidavit declaring that mashed potatoes deserve their own day of celebration. Whatever it is, you smile. Time passes slowly, as absurdity suspends in the air. You could ask the man next to you about his tie clip's backstory, or whether he keeps it polished like a prized possession, or perhaps hides it from his in-laws who are known for their judgment. And let's be real, his answer might be funnier than any sitcom on television. Perhaps, after all, this flight isn't just about getting from point A to point 1. B, it's about the characters, the conundrums, and that inexplicable bond we all share while suspended above the world. And as you look out at the endless clouds, you wonder whether these passengers will cross paths again on some random Tuesday at the grocery store, forced to bond over the politics of cereal aisle choices. So sit back, relax, and let the rhythm of the engines lull you into a state of whimsical reverie as you dream of clouds, mashed potatoes, and highly engaging conversations about office ergonomics. Because in this bizarre world, you are never truly alone. Chapter 19. The Briefcase of Secrets and Snickers. Hey guys, tonight we're swinging back to 1977, where the style was slicker than a greased pig at a county fair, and the tension could be cut with a plastic knife. It's a flight like no other. So buckle your imaginary seatbelt, or traipse over to your couch and grab a snack, because we might just be diving into the murky waters of airplane intrigue and absurdity. Can you remember the last time you were crammed into a tiny seat on a flight? You know, sat between an elderly gentleman who claimed to be a retired spy and a family of 5 who brought enough snacks to feed a small village? Ever felt like you were participating in a human Tetris game, shifting awkwardly as someone's elbow invaded your personal bubble like it was a best friend going through a breakup? Or thought, maybe I could just eat the in-flight meal and pretend it's actually a gourmet dining experience? Spoiler alert, it won't be. Congratulations, you've just woken up aboard a passenger jet in 1977. The engines hum a tune that sounds suspiciously like a malfunctioning washing machine, while the faint scent of microwaved mystery meat wafts through the cabin, both nostalgic and slightly nauseating. As you drift in your cozy confines beneath the fluorescent lights overhead, you can't help but notice a distinct shimmer nearby. You glance over, and there it is, a briefcase, dark and ominous, resting in the lap of your suit-clad companion. Its glossy finish gleams like the promise of a well-executed heist in a bad 70s movie. You can't help but wonder, what treasures or catastrophes could lie within? Adorned in a suit that whispers, "I mean business," while simultaneously suggesting, "Also, I keep my mother's casserole recipes close." Your seatmate is the embodiment of corporate espionage in a heat wave. As the plane gently sways, you can see his fingers drum anxiously against the case. What, oh what, could be inside? A collection of rare stamps? A secret recipe for that suspiciously delicious in-flight lasagna? Or an invitation to a world of top-secret polka contests? Suddenly, with the grace of a cat walking on a tightrope, he opens the briefcase. You lean in, expecting something thrilling. And there they are, wires, red sticks, and a cluster of buttons that look like they belong on the control panel of an ICBM. Your immediate thought, forget launching any projectiles, but turning off the overhead reading light might be a miracle. Ladies and gentlemen, the pilot's dulcet tones crackle through the speakers, disrupting your spine. We are currently circling the urban sprawl of whatever city they managed to land this flying metal coffin in. Please sit tight. We'll be touching down soon, weather permitting. You inhale sharply, realizing your attempts at snooping might be foiled by mundane announcements. But your seatmate is undeterred. He continues fiddling with the wires, occasionally glancing at you as if to say, "Isn't this normal for air travel?" You can only imagine your face, a blend of intrigue, bemusement, and the dawning realization that you might have signed up for the world's worst in-flight show and tell. Now, let's talk about airplane etiquette. It's a fine line, isn't it? Here you are, mere inches apart, sharing an enclosed space that would make a sardine can look like a luxury suite. You try to suppress a methodical blend of absurd humor and mild panic while secretly wishing you could just shove some popcorn in your mouth and enjoy the spectacle unfolding beside you. Meanwhile, the tension of the jet is palpable. Fellow passengers beneath the fluorescence are poring over magazines filled with self-help articles. 10 ways to keep your toddler from throwing snacks, and second-rate gossip columns on celebrity fashion decisions, mostly concerning bell-bottoms that seem to be making a comeback, or an oddly shaped hat worn by a certain rock star. Because, getting dressed like you just fell into a cotton candy machine and rolled around in glitter is always in style. Yet as you glance back toward the briefcase, you shift your perspective. Perhaps these wires and sticks are a code for something deeper, a truth that transcends the standard modern update on quinoa salads and life hacks for your home office. Yes, you think, maybe he's actually a traveling inventor who has come up with an ingenious device that helps you differentiate between socks in the dryer that suddenly reduce in number at an alarming rate. Have you ever launched anything before? You toss out casually, which gets a furrowed brow from your briefcase companion. He shifts gears to explain everything about his mysterious wires. "These, help me run my business," he stammers, before hastily retracting the statement, like a cat caught in a knockout punch. Is he conducting a covert operation, saving the world from poorly written sitcoms? Or perhaps just trying to find a way to order a better cocktail mix than the one in the back? It's like finding a rose among thorns, far more interesting than the basic cocktail list promises. The plane bumps slightly, and you can't help but reevaluate the gravity of the situation. Is he plotting to blow the lid off modernity's greatest myth? Why airline coffee tastes like an elk discovered coffee beans and decided to steep them in unseasoned water? Or maybe he's just a guy who doesn't understand that what happens in Vegas should not be brought on a flight to ensure the tight-knit drama that is now unfurling around him. Please, you think as the engines rumble gently, make this flight a journey full of wires, red sticks, and delightful absurdities, and maybe a touch of potato salad on top as our celebratory snack. And as you glance back out the smudged window at the city twinkling like a disco ball, all too eager for the dancing to commence, you ponder if any other trip could possibly include a man hoarding the key to all your unanswered snack queries. It's moments like these, riding high in a cramped plane, surrounded by strangers snuggled in their own dramas, that remind you that life is delightfully unpredictable and inherently humorous, as long as you can hold on to your snacks. And oh, how you hope this man's briefcase has snacks. Perhaps mashed potato-themed dietary guidelines. One can only dream, right? Dream. Chapter 20. Parachutes, Cash, and the Quest for Comfort. Hey guys, tonight we find ourselves on a gloriously wet runway in Seattle, circa 1977. Picture it. Rain slicking the asphalt like it's just been premised with a light coat of butter, and the air is thick with the scent of optimism. Oh, and maybe a hint of fried food from a nearby concession stand. But more importantly, picture a large bundle of cash and several parachutes being delivered to a plane. Yes, because what could possibly go wrong with cash and parachutes under the clouds of a city known for its chance of drizzle? Let's dive deeper, shall we? But first, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment if you're enjoying the ride. Although, feel free to do that only if you actually enjoyed this little escapade. Now, my friend, settle in, dim the lights, turn on a comforting fan, and make a mental note of your snacks, because this journey might just lead to more questions than answers. Ever pondered what on earth fell off the back of a truck while thundering across an airport tarmac? Or why anyone would choose 1970s parachutes over modern safety options? Seriously, are they designed for skydiving, or just an unfortunate game of guess who? Congratulations! You've just woken up on that rain-slicked runway. The ambience buzzes with the frenetic energy of the 70s. Not the hair and flares, but the sheer chaotic anticipation of life unfolding, much like a cheap party favor. Picture yourself gazing at the mysterious figure looming near the plane. He stands there with all the urgency of a squirrel who's just spotted a bag of acorns in a thundering monsoon. Wearing a trench coat that screams, "I watch too many spy movies," while still managing to suggest he might secretly be a door-to-door salesman for vacuum cleaners, his eyes dart back and forth as the raindrops cascade down like the world's least effective confetti. This is our man, a gentleman of intrigue, or maybe just a confused librarian, lost amid a city of rain and uncertainty. He's busy preparing for a daring escape, clutching a bundle of cash that sparkles like a disco ball dedicated to financial irresponsibility. Have you ever seen someone hold money like that? Like it's somehow both a valuable treasure and a hot potato that might explode at any moment? Perhaps he's an undercover agent, or maybe he just visited an estate sale and bought a little too much from Grandma's secret stash of cash and trinkets. Oh, how delightful it would be if he were just trying to score a series of vintage lava lamps instead of attempting to flee the country. The sheer absurdity of it all. Let's take a moment to reflect on airport security in 1977, shall we? A blissfully naive era when current dilemmas don't even get a second glance. Ever wondered what they would say if they pulled out this mysterious man? "Excuse me, sir, is this a bundle of unmarked bills behind your back? Or are you just happy to see our very underwhelming snack cart?" The runway echoes with the sound of light rain, as if even the universe were giving a gentle applaud to whatever crazy act of defiance was about to unfold. He takes stock of the parachutes perched haphazardly on the tarmac like lost puppies, while illuminating the rich tapestry of flight chances gone awry. Here's a little fun fact. Parachutes in 1977 weren't exactly on the front lines of fashion, and I can't help but have a chuckle imagining someone charging their way through an airport with a pantsuit and a parachute. Talk about taking packing light to an entirely different level. Did they also tote along portable disco balls to set the mood? Can you fathom trying to convince the flight attendants that your parachute is, in fact, a stylish accessory? But back to our man. His trench coat flaps like it has a mind of its own when the wind kicks up, lending him an air of dramatic flair that would make any villain. From a forgettable 70s spy flick, super envious. As he steps into the looming shadows, you could almost picture the imaginary spotlight following his every calculated move. What he seeks is not just freedom, but also possibly the world's best well-grilled Philly cheesesteak. And as he readies himself, you can almost hear his inner monologue. Today marks the day that I free myself from these clutches of 9 to 5 monotony, or at least into the grand marvel that is lunch without limits. Doesn't it make you wonder about the depths of aspiration, whether it's cash, snacks, or simply escaping from the never-ending grind of work? Maybe we're all just looking for our own version of a triumphant rain dance. "Hey, watch where you're going," a nearby baggage handler yells, startling our man. The thrill of potential chaos stirs the air like the smell of popcorn at the movies. Maybe this is just a blend of monotony mixing into the excitement of possibility. After all, it's the 1970s, and anything could happen, like the triumphant rise of disco, or searching for a taco truck that sells gourmet nachos. Pausing for dramatic effect, our mysterious figure brushes a raindrop from his brow and gears up to sprint toward that waiting plane, where freedom awaits in the form of cash and uncertain outcomes. Cue the dramatic music as he leaps into the unknown, because whether he's escaping or just diving into the next chapter of his life, every drop of rain feels like a reminder that life, filled with mishaps and madness, is indeed living. And whether it's parachuting into the absurdities of life, or just trying to order a slightly better cocktail mix at the back of a tiny plane, you can't help but be thankful for the delightful unpredictability that makes us human. After all, if nothing else, life is just one big madcap flight, and we're all just trying to catch Chapter 21. A Leap into the Unknown. Hey guys, Tonight, we embark on an adventure so thrilling that even the most daring parakeet would quiver with anticipation. It's 1977, a year that begs the question, what were we thinking with fashion? It's a wild mix of polyester, disco beats, and a collective belief that parachuting into the unknown might just be a fun Thursday evening activity. Now, let me set the scene. Imagine being your typical suburban dad, working tirelessly at the same dull office 9 to 5. The copy machine isn't even a good conversationalist, and quite frankly, the highlight of your week is a heated debate over whether the office donuts are actually the leftover ones from last year's Christmas party. Yes, life is a bit beige. Ever wonder how one could jazz up the routine? Could you drown an office memo in cash? Dive into the depths of the Pacific and emerge a financial savant? Just a thought. Before we dive into our perplexing evening adventure, let's take a moment to appreciate the sensory delight that comes with any classic 70s experience, like the aroma of hot grease mixed with the faint scent of something you're not sure should be in the air. So go ahead and dim the lights, flick on that calming, oscillating fan, like the one that always seemed to follow you like a loyal dog, and get cozy. Remember, this is more than just a bedtime story. It's a passport to a very peculiar time in history. Picture this. Congratulations. You've just woken up in the midst of a stormy night at a Seattle airport, and things have never looked better, or worse. The sky is darker than your cousin's social media feed after a breakup, and the rain splatters on the tarmac like someone accidentally bombed a paintball field. Thunder cracks, as if the universe is in a very heated disagreement with itself. Now, who's that dapper figure, you ask? Oh, it's none other than our protagonist, a man who made the questionable decision to jump from the rear stairs of a very expensive jet into the wild chaos of a 1970s night. He has the panache of a spy, but the urgency of a cat who just discovered that the vacuum cleaner isn't broken after all. Clad in a trench coat that could very well be a time-traveling relic, this guy looks like he's trying to escape not just from the weather, but also from an impending existential crisis. As he leaps into the storm, we can't help but ponder, is this thrilling dive into the unknown truly daring, or just a guy's elaborate escape from a casserole he accidentally agreed to eat at his aunt's house? Honestly, how hard can it get? Ever tried to dodge awkward family dinners while wearing the metaphorical parachute of social anxiety? It's an art form, my friend. Let's take a minute to think about parachutes like they're haute couture, a real 1970s fashion statement. Picture our man standing there, the rain soaking him down to his last polyester. He grips the cash he's just liberated with the delicacy of someone holding a rare, slightly sticky vintage lava lamp. It's almost like he believes this money has magical powers, and he's about to orchestrate the world's greatest disappearing act, or perhaps just a spontaneous jaunt to Taco Bell after this whole debacle. Now, think about the parachute itself. Back in '77, however ruggedly cool those chute designs appeared, they lacked the slick aesthetic of modern aviation gear. The fabric looked like it was salvaged from the basement of a funky thrift store during a writing retreat. But he's not concerned with details. Oh no. He's about to jump into that enveloping abyss of black clouds. One small step for man, one giant leap into a metaphorical puddle, if you will. As he plunges through that thick cloud cover, you might start questioning the intricacies of life. Why do my socks always disappear? Is the laundry machine conspiring against me? And can we really trust any venture that involves more leather than the average 1970s motorcycle? Surely someone should be wearing helmets here, if only to protect against spectral flying rodents or poorly made parachutes hoping for a comeback. And my friends, while he gracefully tumbles into the obscurity of the night, he's accompanied by a soundscape unlike any other. The rustling wind, the pattering rain, and his own airport anxiety echoing back at him. Picture him thinking, did I just leave my sandwich in the fridge? Am I going to regret this leap into the void instead of making it back just in time for that week's episode of Happy Days? As he descends into the heart of the forest below, every question hangs in the air like the ghost of bad fashion choices. With each body jolt, you can practically hear him responding to the universe. Am I the next great adventurer, or just a footnote in an airport security report? So, as our figure plummets into the clutches of fate, perhaps gripping that cash and his questionable choices, remember this, folks. Every leap into the unknown, whether literal or metaphorical, is an adventure that could lead to existential dread or delicious tacos. Embrace the absurdity. It's the essence of living. And who knows, maybe a warm burrito awaits at the end of your own leaps into uncertainty. And if not, well, there's always leftovers from that dinner you dodged. Now, as our dashing figure vanishes into those thick clouds, let's hold on to the hope that he's not just chasing after a grocery store. Let's hope he's out there seizing the day in the cheekiest, most whimsical way possible. Chapter 22. The Hidden Treasures Beneath the Waves. Hey guys, tonight we dive deeper than your aunt's resentment towards kale salads into the cerulean depths of the Mediterranean Sea. Sit back, relax, and prepare for a journey that's about to get more surreal than your last family reunion. Yes, the one where Uncle Bob revealed his plans to train dolphins for the circus while wearing an inflatable dinosaur costume. We'll meet brave marine archaeologists, armed with nothing but snorkels, a few soggy sandwiches, and an enthusiasm that could put a puppy in a room full of yarn to shame. As they plunge into the waters of 1977, a cosmic cocktail of ancient history and bizarrely modern fashion emerges. Think glittery flippers and high-waisted shorts that have more fabric than the average tent. But hey, have you ever wondered what lies beneath the sparkling surface of those dazzling blue waters? Is it mermaids judging your swim trunks, or perhaps the remnants of ancient civilizations trying to make a fashionable comeback? What if you discovered a lost city, only to find that its inhabitants left behind documents proving they argued over whether cereal is soup? So, dim the lights, turn on that oscillating fan, the one that occasionally sounds like a disgruntled cat, and get cozy. Remember, this isn't just a bedtime story. It's your ticket to a time where deep-sea wonders are just one awkward dive away. Now, Let's talk about diving. It's an adventure where each splash involves more uncertainty than a first date with someone who says they enjoy interpretive dance. Picture yourself slipping off that rickety boat as if you were auditioning for a slapstick comedy. Your flippers hit the water, and suddenly you're both a graceful dolphin and a confused walrus, flailing like someone who's just realized they forgot to wear their goggles. Ever wondered why you thought diving would be as glamorous as in the movies? Spoiler alert, it's mostly just bubbles and existential questions about your life choices. And congratulations, you've just woken up in a very soggy 1977, a time where disco ruled the land, and the only thing cooler than a goldfish was an undersea adventure. You're in the Mediterranean, where the sun shines hotter than a 1970s dance floor, and the water is so inviting that it practically screams, "Jump in, you fabulous land creature." Let's imagine what's happening above the waves first. Picture a group of marine archaeologists, dressed like they just walked off the set of a particularly odd episode of The Brady Bunch. They are armed not just with tanks, but with an enthusiasm that could power a small town. There they are, ready to uncover sun-drenched statues of ancient gods and the fragments of palaces like children searching for treasure in their yards. Only this treasure is thousands of years old and definitely has a 0% chance of being made out of chocolate. One by one they take the plunge, splashes echoing like a symphony of overzealous seals. Under the waves, light filters through, casting dappled patterns on the sea floor, like disco balls dropped from the heavens. As you glide through the water, you might wonder, how many sunken ships have mistaken their crew for modern-day hitchhikers? And are those ancient gods snickering at your attempts to swim gracefully? At first glance, the seabed looks like a color palette inspired by a very artistic sea turtle. Lush seagrass, like greens from a salad bar, stretches towards the sunlight. Yet lurking beneath this vibrant tapestry are the remnants of a bygone era, more dramatic than the final season of your favorite soap opera. Statues stand like frustrated guardians, their facial expressions stuck somewhere between "Why is the world so chaotic?" and "I just stepped on a Lego." Let's stop and ponder. What were the ancient residents of this sunken paradise really like? Did they hold epic sea cucumber eating contests while crafting splendid architecture? Or did they simply wish they had thought to invent waterproof clothing? One can only imagine the conversations held in the palaces before they quite literally sank into oblivion. Honestly, do you think this roof is going to hold up if we have to deal with one more rainstorm? Navigating through fragments of crumbling columns, you might find yourself in a moment of unprepared awe. These structures, gazing eternally into the depths, are the remnants of history, echoing tales of lost civilizations. Were their greatest achievements truly grandiose, or simply excellent brunch spots? Hey, remember that time Achilles got lost on his way to the sea because he thought it was just a pun? Classic. Yet, as you swim around a statue of an ancient god, who's probably considering his own questionable life choices, you can't help but feel like you're in an underwater museum with the most stubborn collection of artworks imaginable. Each piece has endured countless centuries of wear and tear like a poorly preserved family photograph, just hoping that anything resembling a museum curator doesn't emerge from the murky depths to scold your mildly inappropriate observations. Now, as dawn breaks over the waves, casting shimmering rays that dance on the surface like a group of fireflies at a disco, our marine archaeologists finally emerge from their watery exploration. Bursting with excitement, they're ready to adorn themselves with stories that could rival any sitcom. And as they load their finds onto the boat, sunken treasures tangled with an air of comedic elegance, you realize that adventure isn't just about what you find, but also about the absurdity of the moments you share and the bizarre historical questions that arise. If these ancient treasures could talk, what would they share? Tips on surviving high tides, or the importance of waterproof fabric in everyday life? So, my friends, as the dawn boat sails back to shore, you can rest easy knowing that beneath the waves lies a world full of secrets, shadows, and statues silently laughing at the curious lives we lead today. Just remember, the next time you dive into the unknown, whether in the sea or in everyday life, embrace the chaos. The shadows beneath may just hold a treasure more bizarre than you ever imagined. Here's to sunken ships, ancient gods, and the laughter that echoes through the ages. Chapter 23. Delving into Darkness, the Shadowy Underbelly of Egypt. Hey guys, tonight we're going to venture into a realm that's more mysterious than your neighbor's collection of ceramic gnomes. A massive subterranean tunnel carved deep beneath an Egyptian temple. That's right, we're diving into the dusty, shadowy world beneath ancient sands, where explorers roam like ghosts at a poorly planned costume party. Imagine a space so vast and eerie that even the shadows seem to be gossiping about your footwear choices. You may even start to question if that eerie silence is just the universe's way of telling you that, no, you really didn't need to wear those loud, squeaky shoes on this adventure. But don't worry, we're armed with humor and curiosity that can cut through even the thickest of darkness. Kind of like trying to slice through a particularly stubborn slice of fruitcake at Christmas. Before we embark on this expedition, go ahead and give that like button a gentle tap and subscribe only if you truly enjoy my ramblings about random historical nonsense. It's like a digital thumbs up for this cozy little nighttime adventure. Now, dim the lights, toss on that fan that sounds like a disgruntled cat, and settle in for a wild ride. Picture this, a determined researcher in 1977, a time when the world was awash with bell-bottoms, funky disco moves, and an insatiable curiosity about everything ancient and dusty. You know the type, sweaty brow, thick glasses, probably over-caffeinated. Ever wondered how they managed to keep a straight face while having to dodge some rather irritable mummies lurking in the corners? Or how they packed 3 days' worth of trail mix into a backpack without making a crumb catastrophe? Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1977, deep within a hidden Egyptian tunnel. As you blink your eyes against the low light, try to shake off the nagging thought that this excursion might just turn into a scene from a B-grade horror movie. Spoiler alert, everyone's going to want popcorn. Let's talk about the interior. This tunnel, my friend, is as high as a good night's sleep after a rough week, about 2 meters tall and stretching over a whole kilometer. That's right, you could likely hold a one-person dance party without bumping into the ceiling. Just try not to step on any long-lost artifacts. We don't need any angry pharaohs haunting our dreams. The walls are slick with moisture and whispering echoes that play a remix of your most embarrassing moments. Each drop of water that falls from the ceiling sounds like the universe scoffing at your latest choices. Are you brave enough to venture further, or will the voices of ancient tomb guardians compel you to retreat back to your coffee shop with Wi-Fi? The air is thick with mystery, and perhaps a hint of something resembling stale bread. You know, the kind that gets left behind at family dinners and is definitely past its prime. But don't let that deter you. This is where the real adventure lies. Picture explorers in khaki shorts and pith helmets staring wide-eyed at hieroglyphs that were probably drawn by someone who flunked art class. Take a breath, and while doing so, hope that it doesn't smell like a long-lost lunchbox. With every step forward, you might find yourself wondering, did these ancient Egyptians really have a ritual for everything? Was there a ceremony dedicated to misplacing their car keys? And let's get real. How many of these tunnels were actually just glorified hide-and-seek spots for ancient kids whose parents never checked for them? As you navigate the twists and turns of the tunnel, you start taking in the sights. Faded murals of cats lounging with the grace of supermodels in sunglasses. These depictions clearly hint that ancient feline civilizations were likely just as perplexing as your current house cat, who seems to know more about existential dread than you do. And then there's the lighting, or lack thereof. If you're hoping for ambient LED strips, you're out of luck. Instead, you have a trusty flashlight that flickers like your indecision every Sunday when trying to choose a film. It casts strange shadows on the walls, and for a split second, you consider that maybe the ancient Egyptians knew how to throw a killer spook fest and were just waiting for the right audience. Oh, and let's not forget the fabulous surprises that lurk within these dark passages. You might stumble upon a long-forgotten storage room filled with jars, all of which seem precariously balanced, as if the universe is holding its collective breath. What could be inside? Spices? Honey? Or more lifeless laundry that didn't make it to the surface? To be honest, there's probably more than one ancient oops moment hidden down here. Oops, we buried Grandma with the last fruitcake, didn't we? But the real question looms. Did anyone consider putting bathroom fixtures down here? You're not expecting to find the latest in 1970s plumbing tech, but the phrase ancient bathroom suddenly has a new and horrifying meaning. Just imagine the confusion when the research team realizes the nearest restroom is miles away, and waiting becomes an all-encompassing game of existential dread. As you navigate deeper into this intriguing labyrinth, bathed in shadows and dense with history, it becomes clear that every twist and turn tells a story of its own. And in this absorbing, almost comedic sense of mystery, the absurdity of past lives echoes in the shadows around you. Perhaps we are not so different after all from the ones who wandered these mysterious tunnels, hoping to discover not just their secrets, but also that very last chocolate bar buried under all those jars of honey. So as you settle into this journey, remember, dive headfirst into those shadowy corners of life, for you might just stumble upon something more bizarre than you can ever imagine. And as they say, every darkness has its hidden treasures, be they ancient relics or, let's face it, that half-eaten sandwich you've forgotten in the back of your fridge. Chapter 24. The Golden Sarcophagus. Secrets Beneath the Sands. Hey guys, tonight we're embarking on a journey that's shinier than your friend's minivan after a spontaneous car wash. The mysterious allure of a hidden golden sarcophagus enveloped beneath the relentless desert sands. Yes, we're talking gold, secrets, and a whole lot of dust, but not the kind you find in your overstuffed sofa cushions. Imagine a chamber sealed tighter than your grocery store's last roll of plastic wrap, adorned with Greek and Egyptian symbols that shout, "We are so ancient and fabulous, you won't even believe it." Picture a room where history hangs in the air thicker than the perfume of your aunt's long-expired Chanel No. 5. You know, the one that could perhaps win a smell-off against a 1,000-year-old cheese. Before we delve deeper into this sparkling conundrum, how about giving that like button a gentle poke and subscribing, only if you truly enjoy my musings on absurd historical revelations, of course. It's like a digital wink of solidarity among fellow night owls. Now, dim those lights, turn on that fan which sounds more disgruntled than an under-caffeinated speechwriter, and make yourselves comfy, ideally less comfy than the mummies we're about to meet. Now let me ask you, have you ever pondered how an explorer in 1977, decked out in a fashion ensemble that says, "I might have just walked off a disco floor," yet feels modestly adventurous, managed to squeeze a camouflaged expedition into those bell-bottoms? Seriously, how did they avoid a wardrobe malfunction while sprinting from snakes in a tomb? Was it all those hidden pockets? And what about the snacks? How could anyone possibly find trail mix from the 1970s palatable? I can practically hear the crinkling of sun-dried fruits that decided to take a permanent vacation in forgotten caves. Congratulations, you've just woken up in 1977, nestled comfortably beneath layers of sand and history, with the thrill of a treasure hunt tickling your spine. As the memories of disco fever fade, the unknown whispers, "Here lies a fading world beneath the glittering sands." Let's talk about the interior of this chamber, a hidden oasis of secrets, much like the pantry you never bother to clean out. The sarcophagus is there, gleaming like it just walked off a game show set, just waiting for someone to pop the lid and discover what treasures, or quite possibly what nightmares, lie within. The chamber itself is not only adorned with intricate carvings, but also boasts walls that may or may not have been painted by an aspiring artist who had a bad few years during an art history class. The air inside feels cooler than your friend's personality when they lose that last slice of pizza. It's like a refreshing escape from the sweltering heat above, thick with anticipation, mystery, and possibly the lingering scent of ancient incense too stubborn to leave. But beware, with every inhalation, you may catch whiffs of something far less fabulous, like that mysterious toenail fungus from the last cult weekend retreat. The sarcophagus, gold-plated and immaculately crafted, sits still and regal, a sanctuary for whatever ancient soul remains at rest. Or Perhaps a cat that misplaced its collar. Seriously, was there an option for "do not disturb" when they laid down this tomb? What do you think was the equivalent of an "out for lunch" sign in those days? A few strategically placed jars of honey? In this peculiar silence, your imagination runs wild. Did ancient Egyptians run an underground scented candle-making business? Did they dabble in aromatherapy, treating pyramid fatigue with chamomile and mindfulness? You can almost hear the hushed tones of past dynasties discussing their struggles with the latest trend in coffin designs. What's with the extra flair? Just a bit too much bling for a nap, don't you think? And as you examine the geometric patterns etched into the walls, you might wonder, was this the prehistoric equivalent of today's Instagram grid? Like, behold the chamber of Pharaoh Gino, the one who really nailed the aesthetics. Dreams of optimizing room layout aside, one might find it equally amusing to imagine the afterlife as a never-ending episode of a home renovation show. And here we have the living room, or rather, the living dead room. As you stroll deeper into the chamber, your mind flickers through a succession of half-baked queries. Why hasn't anyone replaced that ancient mildew? Did they have Wi-Fi in the afterlife? I mean, imagine the ancient texts being available online. 5 ways cats ruled Egypt, and why gold was the ultimate crunchy snack. And then there's the sarcophagus itself, opening a philosophical debate about what lies beneath. Will it be riches fit for a golden-eyed pharaoh, or the recycled leftovers from their last buffet? Perhaps you'll find a scroll that simply states, "Don't open until Christmas." Spoiler alert, Christmas has a different meaning back then. As the echoes of your own footsteps gradually fade away, you realize this chamber holds stories deeper than just golden furniture. Every inch of space begs you to ponder the hilarity of past lives navigating their own complexities in ways that strangely mirror our modern existence. So, as we drift within these curiously illuminated spaces, let's uplift those comedic shadows of history and prepare to embrace the absurd whispers of tomorrow, where ancient secrets just might leap out to surprise you, or leave you wondering about that strange smell. And remember, the world's mysteries have a way of unveiling themselves, even if that unveiling comes with a side of awkward chuckles, as if the universe just shared the best knock-knock joke during your very serious meditation session. Unpack those invisible treasures, dear listener, and find joy in the unintentionally funny corners of history. After all, nothing says adventure quite like the thought of a peeking pharaoh who had one too many during the last weekend in the underworld gathering. The underworld. Chapter 25. The Mystique of Queen Tweedledoo. A Shadow in Time. Hey guys, tonight we journey into the enigmatic life of a queen whose very name makes historians drop their quills in silent awe. Yes, we're talking about the legendary Queen Tweedledoo. Perhaps not her actual name, but one I prefer because it sounds as majestic as those fancy lattes you sip on Sunday mornings while dramatically pondering life's questions like, who decided the spoon should be considered a utensil? And why isn't it also a weapon? Imagine this regal figure amidst intense negotiations with pampered generals more concerned about their hairstyles than the fate of empires.
You might wonder, did Tweedledoo tackle such high-stakes conversations in a lavish silk gown? Or was she more of a business casual queen? Who knew royal attire included so many ruffles and spikes? It's like a Renaissance version of a punk rock concert, complete with historical drummers banging away to the beats
of political agendas. Before we dive into her story, let's take a moment to reflect. How did she manage to style her hair without the assistance of a well-trained glam squad? Did her courtiers subtly hold up mirrors while she juggled a scepter and snacked on exotic fruits? And what about her lunch breaks? Did she keep them perfumed and poised? Or was it closer to, oh dear, you caught me munching on leftover fava beans during peace talks? Congratulations! You've just woken up in a time buzzing with intrigue, nestled in a palace filled with shadows lurking around every corner. Shadows that may or may not be whispering about the latest fashion faux pas in royal circles. The year is 1977, and let's be honest, it feels more like an elaborate theatrical play of ancient gossip. Let's talk about the situation in the kingdom. The air is thick with more secrets than your sister-in-law's WhatsApp group. The aroma of overcooked lamb wafts through the grand halls, mingling with the scent of freshly polished marble floors. A team of servants scurries about, tiptoeing as if walking on eggs. Literal, not metaphorical, because you have to save costs somewhere. Ever tripped over a royal toad while attempting to grab a midday snack? Well, my friend, today might be your lucky day. You see, Queen Tweedledoo's reign is punctuated by a series of curious tales, each woven tighter than your grandpa's storytelling. Imagine her marching into battle, not with swords drawn, but armed with magnificent sarcasm and a knife-sharpening concentration on political maneuvers. How delightful it must have been. You can almost hear her initiating a "you think you're tough" competition, her generals nervously pretending to strategize while secretly comparing the thickness of their battle-ready capes. Let's not forget the palace fountains, bubbling contentedly like they've just been to a bubbly brunch. However, these fountains come with a catch. Rumor has it they possess a unique feature. They change color depending on who's approaching. When Tweedledoo, in all her regal splendor, approach, they glimmer with an iridescent shade that screams, "Look at me, I'm fabulous." Meanwhile, the soldiers pass by, and the water reluctantly turns murky, perhaps out of sheer embarrassment. Now, as you stroll through the opulent corridors of Tweedledoo's palace, you can't help but marvel at the intricate tapestries telling stories of love, loss, and far too much satin in the wardrobe. You might ponder, was fabric ever blissfully unaware that it was destined to be draped over the most comically mundane scenarios, like a royal doodle on a particularly slow Tuesday afternoon? It's time for a scene change. Picture the Queen herself, flicking through ancient scrolls that may actually just be last week's gossip news, expertly crafted to ruin the chances of any royal on the verge of a diplomatic suitor. Did she give herself neck cramps with all the eye-rolling required to keep her position truly royal? Can you visualize her sewing her opinions directly into the fabric of history while sipping a mysterious herbal tea that definitely had some questionable ingredients. Now, close your eyes and appreciate the vast shadows lurking around the throne. Could it be that those shadows are the manifestations of all the poor fashion choices made by the courtiers and the very essence of their complete lack of rhythm during the royal dance-offs? Why else would they compete solely to impress people who could bring tomatoes to a ball? As you stroll further, one question stands out. Where did the tradition of "let's throw a feast and then pretend to be a respectable kingdom" come from? A tedious endeavor for sure. I mean, any situation that requires a meal prepared by 30 chefs, followed by an awkward drum roll of societal expectations, must involve some true inner strength. Perhaps in a "we could have split this bill differently" way.
So, as the silk curtain falls around you, filled with the promise of laughter amidst the clashes of whispered disappointment and misunderstandings of the court, remember the echoes of Queen Tweedledoo and her indelible mark upon this peculiar slice of time. Because, at the heart of it, isn't life just a series of whimsical caves, each corner, each shadow, a place where stories align in absurdly royal fashion, teetering on the edge of hilarity, each one waiting for you to join the gaggle of unseen memories? After all, the world's shadows have their own tales told through the fabric of history, reveling in moments both awkward and breathtaking. Embrace the absurdities around you, dear listener, and perhaps slip into your own dream, where you reign over a kingdom of laughter, having outwitted generals and airy whispers in the process. Sweet dreams await in the corners of your imagination, don't you think? As our quiet journey comes to an end, let the shadows gently fade back into their places. Tonight, we wandered through ancient darkness and cosmic absurdity, through moments where humans stared into the unknown with curiosity, confusion, and the occasional laugh. Long before soft beds and steady electricity, people faced nights far colder and darker than ours, guided only by flickering firelight, imagination, and resilience. They worked until exhaustion claimed them. They worried about survival, weather, hunger, and unseen dangers. And yet, even then, they joked, wondered, and rested when the night finally allowed it. The shadows that followed them were not signs of doom. They were companions of uncertainty, reminders that the world has always been larger than our understanding. Somehow, humanity endured anyway, with stories, with laughter, with patience. Tonight, you rest in comforts they could never imagine. A warm room, a safe place, a quiet hum of modern life holding the darkness at bay. Let gratitude settle softly, not loud, not forced, just a quiet awareness that you are safe now. The mysteries of the universe do not need answers tonight. The shadows do not need names. You've explored enough for one day.
The universe has laughed. The mind has wandered. The night has done its work. Now allow your thoughts to slow, like stars drifting out of view. Let the humor soften into stillness. Let the strange become familiar. Sleep does not fear the dark. It understands it. Breathe slowly. Feel the weight of the day release. And let the unexplained remain unexplained, peacefully. The shadows will stay where they belong. Morning will find you when it's ready. And for now, you are allowed to rest. Good night, wanderer. Sleep gently.